This conference will now be recorded.
I just want to welcome everybody to the training. Welcome to Senior Life. And like I said, we're going to start today going over basics of this business, pretty much everything from your web portal to, going into the presentation and booking appointments and pretty much everything in between. So some parts of it, guys, like I said, is going to be interactive. If you guys have any questions, we'll be able to address them. It'll be able to help everybody overall. All right. And we'll get started here. So, first things first, I want to make sure that everybody had got on, was able to log into their agent portal. Um, so that way, if you guys need to log in and kind of go through as we're going through this, you'll be able to. So, first part, number one, we're going to go over what we call a new agent blueprint. Every business, if you're building a house, building a franchise, everything's going to have a blueprint. And you guys have probably, been somewhere else before. If you guys are coming from another company, whatever it may be, I always say, don't just forget everything that you know, but be very open-minded and don't be just locked into the way you've done things before. I've been to other companies, different systems, but the one thing I will tell you is, coming into a new opportunity, we've kind of tested everything out and kind of paved the way for you guys to make sure that it's very simple. We've already got, all the bugs, kind of worked out. There's always going to be things to learn, but if you guys will just take some of our advice on here and just use it, I promise you that it works. So, here it says every football team has a playbook. The playbook obviously is everything is going to be different depending on the team. Each one's going to work if you work it. And like I said, don't, I would say just forget your old system for now. It's a whole new game. You're going to come in and learn all new different types of skills and different ways and methods. So, everybody that's on the call also, if your upline is going to have maybe a different way, maybe you have a different script to use. I'm not saying these are going to be the only things to use. So just take what you learned today and then discuss it with your upline and see if maybe you guys have different scripts and things to use. So one of the first things that we want to go over today, this morning, is depending on why you got into this business. What is your why? The reason why I feel this is one of the most important things to talk about for training is if you don't know what your why is, you don't know why you started this business. It's going to be very challenging to get through the times of the challenges throughout the business. So for you guys that are on here that don't have a strong why, or don't know why you got into the business, one of the first bumps or hurdles you're going to get may deter you from continuing. So, what is a why factor? They always say the first two times, in your life, the most important were when you were born and the day you figure out your why and why you're here and what your purpose is. Your why is going to give you, your drive, your power, all your energy that you need, and also a focus to be in the business. It's going to be the motivation that gets you up in the morning, that's going to get you out there when you don't feel like getting up, when you've gone through and you got 2 or 3 days of no shows, or had a bad day in the field, you were out there door knocking, nobody answered the door, or if you're on there booking appointments and nobody had answered the phone. What is it that's going to kind of pull you through that, that's going to get you to the next day? That's what's going to be important, to kind of get you guys focused and get you out there, in the business. So always think of that. One of the biggest things that I've found to help you get through there, to keep your motivation and keep your positivity going, is reading books. When I first started in the business about 11 years ago, just to give you guys a little bit of background on myself, I've been doing the insurance business now about 11 years. I've been with, about a few different companies. I've done everything from captive to the brokerage. I've found that, to me, doing something that's simple, that's captive, that is, one focus, when you have one line of products and you can put all your heart and soul into it, is where I found to be the best. But back then I never really read books. I wasn't an avid reader. I wasn't somebody that read books for purpose. So for me, being able to read books, I was able to read people's biographies and see that everybody had the challenges that I had in the business, especially. So, for me, it was just good to hear that everybody had some of the same struggles, or even 10 times bigger than what mine were. So it gave me hope to be able to keep on moving. So some of the different books that I recommend. One of the first ones we talk about it a lot, especially on a lot of conference calls, is going to be How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Selling by Frank Becker. Frank Becker He's from Johnstown. He was playing in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Basically, got into the baseball at a high level, into the major leagues, and because of his attitude was so poor, they ended up keep cutting him down to the point where he was just at a low level playing. And they basically told him, like, listen, man, you're great at baseball, but the problem is your attitude is so poor that nobody wants to be around you. All your teammates don't want you on the team, and we just can't have you here. So he decided one day when he started going down the ranks that, one thing I'm going to change is I'm going to change my attitude. And he started to change his enthusiasm level to the game. And instead of being negative towards the game and making excuses for his failures, he started going into the game with a positive attitude. And he got to a point where they ended up giving him a nickname, and they called him Pep Beggar. And because now he was so excited to be on the field, everybody that was down, he would come in and basically, get them all excited. And then they started winning games, and everybody started to be, on his side and basically wanting him on the team because of his enthusiasm. So basically, he didn't change anything in his game. He was already good at what he did. He just really changed the outlook that he looked on the game, and the outlook that he took onto his perspective of how he took on the game with his attitude, and it changed his whole dynamic. And he started moving back up, and then eventually got injured, and to the point where he wasn't able to play the game and ended up getting in the insurance business. And he took that same level of enthusiasm, that same positive mindset, and put it into his insurance business, and was one of the top sales back in that day. So very good book to read. I definitely recommend it. The other one is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. If you guys want to understand mindset and understand how the brain and understand how your mindset works, definitely Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill got with Andrew Carnegie, which at that time was the richest man in the world, United States Steel Company. And he basically gave Napoleon Hill the secrets to success and wanted to put out the first book and philosophy of success, coming from the richest person in the world. So he went and interviewed about 500 of the world's biggest failures and came up with a book to help everybody and got us through the Great Depression. So definitely a good book there. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. You guys understand the subconscious mind and where all your subconscious thoughts go that could put you into habits. This book is going to help you with your habits that you didn't even realize that you had, maybe from a child up. Maybe you pay bills in a certain way because you watched your family pay their bills late, or, got yourself in a bad habit. This is going to teach you where those files are into your head and kind of replace them with new habits. So that's a good book there. The Secret, talking about the positive mindset, basically that everything you put out into the universe is going to come back depending on which way you put it out. Good book there. And the last one we'll discuss is The Traveler's Gift. It's kind of a fiction, nonfiction book. This is actually the first book that I ever read, and it was about a guy that was struggling. His whole financials were going down. His family was falling apart. His daughter was sick. He didn't have any insurance, and he tried to kill himself, wreck himself into a tree. And it basically, in that dream state, he ended up meeting 7 influential people from King Solomon to Columbus, and each person he met gave him different tips on life and his business, and he was able to succeed through it. So one thing, like I said, I recommend is reading books, because guys, if you will get your mindset right, it doesn't matter what I teach you today. It doesn't matter how many sales tips I teach you. If you don't got the right mindset, if you don't got the mindset of a winner, you're not going to get out there in the field and already believe that you can do something and have the vision to be able to go out there and do it. And the books are going to be able to help you push through that. If you guys will take an hour in the morning and an hour at night is what I recommend. Get up before everybody gets up at the house. Read a book for an hour. Watch how many books you'll be able to read throughout the year just by doing 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour at night. I promise it'll change your mindset. The next part we're going to get into here is a couple laundry items. We're going to talk about, everybody's going to have a different conference call line. Some of you guys, for the ones that we have, just to give you an example, we have Monday morning motivational calls going over our week numbers, getting everybody set up for success. 8:30 Monday mornings, 8:30 Tuesday mornings, get on the call. Here's what I always tell people. A lot of times you think conference calls are boring. They just get mundane and kind of going through the motions. But here's the thing. People that I find that get in the calls, plug into the system, and get on there every week, every time, are going to be the ones that I see on the leaderboards every single week. I promise you, if I took the leaderboards and I took the conference call data from each week, you're going to find the people that are succeeding, whether it's in leadership or in production, are going to be the people that are going to be on the calls. It just, when you plug into a system, you got to be plugged in. You got to get excited and make sure you guys are on there, plugging in and being competitive. So make sure you get with your leadership and see what time your conference calls are throughout the week. Next thing, weekly production. Make sure that every week on Thursday evening, you guys should have already got your numbers into your leaders last evening. Make sure that you get your numbers in by 7 p.m. This is not an optional thing. Our leadership, we have to get the numbers in by Friday morning over to the home office. So don't be the one that your leaders constantly making you, calling you every morning, Friday morning, saying, I need your numbers, I need your numbers. It takes 2 seconds at the end of your day on Thursday. Our weekdays are going to work pretty much. Friday morning is going to be our Monday. So today, this morning is going to be your new start of the week. So when you send in your numbers, from Friday morning to Thursday evening is going to be the total of your annual premium that you're going to get. So I'm going to pull up here, guys, to kind of walk you guys through your agent portal. If you guys have already set up, I'm going to get off the screen here 1 second. And pull up the portal. If you guys are in front of your computer, if you want to pull up your portal, log in. Your portal login is going to be your agent number, and the last 4 of your social. Okay. But I'm going to pull this up here for you to walk you through as we go through. Let me know if you guys can see that screen share switch. Can you guys see the agent portal? Anybody that's on there?
Yeah, I can see it.
You can see it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to turn off my webcam for now. We're going to go through some of this here. So on the agent portal, guys, when you log in, like I said, it's going to be your agent number and the last 4 of your social. Okay. One of the biggest parts that we're going to go over right now is the home screen is very basically simple. If you go under the home tab, everything under the home tab is going to be there to change your email address, change your password, and basically to log off. So I'm not going to touch too much on that. But the first one here is your policy information. When you guys go under policy information tab, the first button you're going to see is pending policies. For you guys that are submitting, when you submit your policies, you're also going to have a pending policy section under your Slice application, which we're going to go over once we go over Slice. But in your agent portal, anything that may go through and you need to find it in your pending, you can also pull up your pending here. It's also going to give you issue dates and everything on here. So when you guys click into your pending, I'm actually going to pull up an agent here just to pull up a different pending report. All right. So when you go into your pending policies, it's going to give you a drop-down box by either policy number or your insured's name. If you already know the insured's name, you just want to type it in and go right to it, then you can. I always just leave it on policy number. When you hit continue on policy number, it's going to pull up and go over every policy that you have pending. So it'll make it very simple for you guys to go over and see. So if you guys look here, it's going to show what type of policy you wrote, the plan type, the name of the insured, and then it's also going to go over if it's pending and if it has lapsed or anything. So if you look at some of these ones, these are obviously old. These are either people that have canceled or didn't have money in their account. It's going to give you a reason there on the right side if it was insufficient funds or whatever it may be. At the bottom left, you'll be able to go in here and there'll be different pages. So each one of these pages is going to give you guys however many policies is pending as an agent. And if you look over here to the right, if you see it pending, this one obviously right here was pending for 24 days. And what that just means is there's nothing wrong with it. As long as you see an issue date right on the right-hand side, like this one here is from March 19th, March 28th, that just means that that policy was post-dated for a month, in advance. So as long as you have an issue date on the right-hand side, then more than likely that there's nothing wrong with that policy. Everything's set to go through. The only time that there's going to be an issue if you see it where it still says pending, and it's been pending for 7 or 8 days, then you probably know that there's a problem. If there is a problem, it's going to tell you what that problem is in that column where it says insufficient. If on the 19th goes through that day, when you look at it after 4:30 in the afternoon when advance reports go out, you're going to want to check that and see if it says insufficient funds or anything like that, because that's where you're going to want to pick up the phone, give the customer a call, and make sure that they remembered to make sure that they left that money in their bank account, especially if it was a post-dated policy. We're going to get to some here. We're going to go to the next page. If you guys get here and see some of these other ones here, everything on this one looks good, right? Projected issue dates, all of them have projected issues. The only time you want to have a concern if you don't see a projected issue date that's on the policy. Okay, if you don't have a projected issue date, then you want to call into the home office, give them the policy number of the client, which is going to be right here on the left-hand side, the SL number. Give them the SL policy number and let them know that you submitted a policy. It's showing that it's pending, let's say for 9 days, and you don't have an issue date. If there's no issue date, there could be an invalid bank account, invalid routing number, whatever that policy could be invalid. Okay, so like I said, some of this information is all going to be on your Slice app under pending, but if you also need to look it up, there's some policies that'll pull up in here that won't pull up on your Slice. The second part of the policy information tab is going to be any lapse policies. So if we want to pull up any lapse policies, we can maybe go back if you know a certain date that a policy may have lapsed. Let's just go back to the 3rd of the month. So right here, guys, you can see any lapsed policies that have canceled on the 3rd. What I usually do is check typical dates you set up policies. The 1st, the 3rd, the 15th, the 1st Wednesday, 2nd Wednesday, 3rd Wednesday of the month. I would go in there and check each one and go through here. And if you see that the issue date was January 3rd, 2019, and it's canceled now on the 3rd, that's 2-3 months in, what I would do is give them a call. You want to call these as soon as possible. Reason being is somebody might have just accidentally forgot. It's new to them. They may have not wanted to cancel their policy. Don't be afraid to call your client and find out. Or maybe they had a question and they tried to call you and they couldn't get a hold of you, so they just canceled it because they felt uneasy. Or maybe their friend had told them it wasn't the right thing, or who knows what it may be. But you guys want to call these people as soon as possible, because the quicker you can get these put back on the books, if they cancel January 3rd and you call them January 4th, the odds of getting them put back on, they may be able to go back down to the bank, put some money into the bank. Maybe they had something come out that they forgot about that they had bought. Who knows? Try to get this put on during the first 30 days, because if not, like right now, if you guys take a look at this top one here, Deborah Perks, if you take a look at their issue date, the issue date is January 3rd, termination date is March 3rd. That means this person's already behind, about 2 months. You're going to collect 2 months of premiums plus the next month to be able to get this person up to date. If you guys look at this one here, the issue date was March 1st, and for some reason they called in and canceled March 8th. I would give a call in and see what happened. Could have been just a mistake, but you have a better chance of getting that one put on 3 days after it cancels. Or like here, this one gave a reason. This one here was declined in underwriting. Not that this person had to decline, but they may not have qualified for the plan type that we put them in for. We may just have to go back and rewrite the policy. But it's better to go back a few days later. But make sure you guys stay on top of this. I would get into the habit of getting in here each month, especially on the 1st and the 3rd, where the bulk of your business should be going through, and just do a lapse policy search and go through and try to get these people back on the books. If you can't get them back on the books right there, you may have to do what's called a rewrite. A rewrite is going to be where you can rewrite the policy maybe once or twice during the life of this policy to make sure that, that the person can get me rewritten. You can rewrite it one time, I'm pretty sure. If you rewrite it once, it's going to go ahead and you can just collect the 1 month's premium, get it put back on the books, and just let them know that, listen, Ms. Jones, we're doing you a favor here. We're going to get this rewritten, but I will tell you that the company frowns upon, rewriting this business. If you fail to keep your obligations in the future, you may not be able to rewrite a policy in the future. So keep that in mind. The next part that we're going to go over is your agent information. The agent information tab, one of the biggest ones you're going to go look at here is view archive documents. Under the view archive documents tab, what's going to happen is you're going to see, first and foremost, any of your expense amounts. If you have a lead amount, it's going to show you how much you owe on your leads. If you have any health insurance coming out, your health insurance balance is going to come up there. If you're a leadership or you're doing any other type of miscellaneous through the home office, all your advertising costs and everything is going to come right through the miscellaneous and advertising tab. And if you have any type of savings, you guys can set up a savings amount right through the home office. You guys can set that up right there, through the home office. It'll give you a tally of all your total expenses that are for the week. And then down here, guys, is where a lot of your different commission schedules for the month, every daily advance report you get is going to come up here. And just like I said earlier, at 4:30 in the afternoon every day, give or take a couple minutes, that your new advance report should come out each day. Your commission statements are going to come out on the 7th of each month. So that's going to give you a tally. I'm just going to kind of go through here. And anytime you guys get leads, your leads will get generated as well into your view archive documents. So we'll start out with leads just to kind of give you guys an example. Lead days we're going to go over here are going to be on Wednesdays. You can also order them through your upline different days, but lead billing days are going to be on Wednesdays. Your leads are going to come up here in the portal. You do want to make sure that you guys, for your portal usage, if you're going to use your agent portal, the best site that I found, if you're using it on the computer, is going to be Firefox. If you guys see Firefox as a browser, make sure you download Firefox. It just allows everything to run smooth. There's no hiccups in the programming. If you guys are going to pull it up on your phone or your iPhone or your Android or your iPad, I would use a web browser called Puffin, and that's P as in Paul, Uffin. It has a little, I'm not sure the animal that's on there, maybe a penguin or some type of animal on the icon, but it's called Puffin web browser. If you pull it up on your phone, a lot of new phones don't have the right browsing software to be able to pull up your advanced statements and commission statements and leads properly. So make sure you guys use either Firefox if you're on the web. If you're on your Android device, make sure you use it's called Puffin, Puffin. Okay. If you guys do go in here, you can pull up your leads, open the files up or save them right to your computer. They're going to come up in a PDF file version that you'll be able to go down through and pull up, okay, to be able to print out. Make sure you guys get your leads printed out every week before Friday, because you're going to want to make sure that if there is anything you need to get, maybe your leads didn't show up, whatever it may be, you want to get that done before Friday, okay, throughout there. All right, can you guys still see this screen here? All right, next part, advanced statements. Advanced statements is where you're going to get your daily advances. You're going to be able to pull it up here. And when you open it, it's going to basically pull up the client that you wrote. I'm going to change the screen here so you guys can see it. All right, can you guys all see the advance report here? I just need a little feedback from you guys that are able to use your mic. Okay, perfect. Carl said yes. Thank you, Carl. All right, so On the advance report, you guys want to make sure that whatever you did right that you had pending is going to go through. Your advance report, you'll know that day if a policy was insufficient or didn't go through, but you want to make sure that everything that you have pending is going to go through here. On your advance report, it'll show you your who the writing agent is. It's also going to show your annual premiums, and then it's also going to show you what your total commission would be minus any of your lead expenses. So if you go through it, it'll show you here your advances due. Let's say 121 for that day. This was just one policy that went through, a small one. If you have a lead balance or any type of miscellaneous advertising charges, then it's going to come down right there in that bottom, and it'll show you what your total balance due is depending on what they are. Okay, so everybody's going to be different. Now, if you're in leadership, in your leadership advance report is going to show not only what you wrote, but it's also going to show what your agents have wrote as well. Okay, so it's going to give you a total of what you wrote plus what your agents have wrote to give you an idea to make sure that the policies have went through correctly. Okay. All right. So any questions on the advance reports or your leads where they show up in the agent portal so far?
No, sir.
All right, perfect. All right, we're going to go back to the agent portal here. Now, I'm going to go over the section on the agent portal here where we're going to talk about the commission statements. The commission statement is only going to be once a month, and it's going to be on the 7th of each month. And this is where it's going to go down through and pull up any commissions that were going down all the way down through. I'm going to pull this up here to show you. It's going to show you from top to bottom all your commissions. This is going to be all your clients, anybody that you have that you want to see if you're getting your pay through amounts on. Now, I'm not going to go over your commission statement because each person is going to be different. But what I will tell you is get with your upline, especially when it comes through. You guys that are new aren't going to have a pay through or renewals yet. So this won't be something you'll be looking at each month, but it will show you all your customers basically that are on here each month. At the bottom, there's going to be two numbers going to show you, right here where it says 90272. It's going to show you each month what your renewals are, and then if you have any lead expenses, it's going to go down through and pay that stuff off to where your commissions won't have to pay for it each month. Okay, so make sure you get with your upline. They're going to go through and make sure they explain to this a little bit more in detail. There's only a few numbers you really need to look at on here, which is going to be this end column that's right here where this one here says 902. That's going to be after everything tallies up at the end. It's going to show, and then it'll show here what your ending balance is if you have leads, whatever. And you guys can see that 902 went through and paid all the balances off, and then left the remaining balance at the bottom to pay out as a positive. So if you keep it that simple, there's a lot of stuff to look at on the commission statement, but I wouldn't get too in depth into it. Just get with, like I said, get with your upline, and they'll show you which ones to go over. But it will be right there each month, right there on the 7th of each month. All right, back to the agent portal. All right, I'm gonna pull this back up here. Now, the next thing is if you guys are gonna be in leadership, you guys have other agents that are gonna be underneath you, you're gonna be able to go to the change writing agent screen. And once your agent writes a piece of business, so if you guys just came in and you hired, let's say, 2 people you brought along with you, don't be alarmed if you don't see their name in this list, okay? Their name will not show up in this list until they write a new piece of business. Okay, so if they have not submitted, not just when they submit the piece of business, but when that policy issues. So once you see your new agent on your advance statement, then the next time you go into your change writing agent, then your agents will be in there. So if you don't see anybody in there, don't get alarmed. It's not like they're not coded to you or something. But if you see them, that you know that they issued a policy and for some reason they didn't show up in there, then you'd want to check to make sure that everything went through the licensing department correctly. Okay, if you did want to change an agent, you could just click on the agent that you want to change, scroll down here to the change writing agent tab and hit change writing agent, and it'll still show your agent up here at the top left if you guys see, but it will also show you the agent that you're in on the top right where it says Michael Brannon there. What you're going to do is you'll be able to see that. So you're still in your portal. So if you need to get in there, but anytime you switch agents, it's going to show you what agent it is up there on the right-hand side. So once you guys go in there, you'll be able to pull up all their information the same way as you're able to pull up yours to make sure, especially if you have a new agent, you want to make sure that their business went through properly or whatever it may be. You guys want to make sure that you guys go in there and follow up on that. Then there's an agent production tab. You guys can go in there, check out your own agent production. You can also go in if you wanted to check out, let's say, an agent. We want to pull up change writing agent. You guys can go in there and hit agent production, and it'll show for which month that agent's production is, and you can look at it for the month, year to date, and you could also look up whatever their production is for their convention. If you guys want to track your convention, definitely go in there and make sure you know where you're at to hit your convention numbers. We're going to go over later today on what to do for your convention to make sure that you don't miss convention. Everybody should be at the agent convention. It's definitely a good time. And you got to think it's very, to me, simple to hit. Every agent that is with Senior Life should definitely qualify each year. So if you want to know where you're at production-wise, everything that's issued for the month, just make sure you go to the agent production tab, go in for whichever month you want to look at, and you can look at not only your own production, but you'll also be able to look at everybody else's production in your downline as a total. The next tab, I'm just going to tell you we don't really use it as much. The next tab here is the application entry and premium calculator. This was old. This was before we had Slice. For all you guys that are spoiled having Slice and having such a simple way to enter your business, this was an old application entry that we used to use. You used to be able to go in, hit click new application, and we pull up an old web-based application process. We don't use this anymore just because Slice has replaced it. It's still on the website, but in the future we'll be taking it off there. So some telesale reps still use this to enter their information, but it's 10 times easier to do through Slice. So I'm going to tell you, don't worry about this tab at all, because even the premium calculator, we don't use the premium calculator on this either. So all your premiums you'll be able to pull up right on right on the screen, but this is just to kind of give you an idea. This was an old one. I can't say that it's updated, so that's why I'm going to tell you not to use it, just because I don't know the updated version, if it's updated or not, but you guys can kind of see it here on your screen. It does have it on there. I just wouldn't rely on it. I would just use your Slice application. So this last tab, I would just say it's not needed. We really don't need to use it for any reason. So that's the simplicity of the agent portal side. Now we're going to go over here the next section, but before we go to the next section for the agency resources tab, does anybody have any questions so far on the agent portal and what you're going to use and how to log in or anything like that? Okay, nobody so far. All right, moving on. Next part, guys, is going to be our Senior Life Agency Resource Center. This is going to be where you're going to be able to go in, order your online marketing materials. Make sure you go in and register, okay? There's going to be a separate registration site, which I'm going to go in here and show you here in a second. When you guys go on here, this is where you're going to be able to get all your marketing materials. There's a lot of free items, especially for your field work. There's going to be the senior care brochures, which we're going to go over, your final wish planners, any of your prescription discount cards. You can print out a copy of the agent manual. The agent manual also is going to be on your Slice application, but you'll also be able to download a PDF copy of it to keep it if you need it. And different leave behind brochures, such as your peace of mind brochures, your legacy brochures, any type of bifolds that you need for the large presentation for the legacy. We're going to go over in depth on it, but just to give you guys an example, when you guys go to the home office website, seniorlifeinsurancecompany.com, you're going to go down the bottom left, and this is where the login portal is going to be again. But you're also going to not only just log into your portal, you're also going to log in to your agency resources. So if you guys see right here on the right-hand side, left side is going to be your agent portal. Right side is going to be your agency resources. Okay. So when you guys go here, you see where it says click here to register. You're going to want to make sure this is going to be separate from your agent number. You're going to go in and you're going to register under the Senior Life resource page. You want to make sure that you go in here and under log in, you're going to see underneath here, create an account. When you guys go to create account, this is where you're going to want to punch in all your information as an agent. Your username, you can make it your agent number to keep it simple, and then create a password. Obviously, you're not going to forget whatever email address you need to do in case you forget your password, and all of your user information is going to be your address, where you want your items shipped to, all that kind of stuff. So you want to make sure you go in and set this up. You will not be able to log into it until you get set up and approved to get in there. Okay, but I'm going to log into mine so you guys can see it. When you guys log into your agency resource center, there's going to be all different parts. This is where you're going to download the Leads the Way app, which we'll talk about later. This is where you're going to download your Slice application. So anybody that hasn't downloaded Slice onto their iPad or their iPhone, you're going to want to make sure that you register, get in here so you guys can get this stuff downloaded. If you guys see here at the top where it says order your market materials through the Agent Senior Life store, this is where you're going to also have a second login. We had to have a second login to make sure it was separate for purchasing. So once you log in, you're going to sign up for the agent resources as one login. And when you go to the Senior Life store, you're going to scroll down here to where it says order marketing materials. You're going to go into the Senior Life store, and there's going to be a separate login right here. So if you guys can see that there's going to be a separate login tab. And if you haven't created one yet, go down here to where it says agent details, punch in your information again, and actually set up a login for the Senior Life store. So it's going to be a separate one. So please write that down, because it will get a little confusing when you're trying to log in and you don't scroll down and see that you have to set up a separate login. So separate login for the agent store. Now, once you guys actually log into the agent store, this is where you're going to be able to have a lot of your marketing materials at. So once you log in, if you guys look here on the left-hand side, one of the first ones that I go to, now you guys should have already received your agent and your new agent kit, which your new agent kit's going to give you all the basic brochures, Senior Life brochures, discount cards, business cards, everything you guys are going to need to get your business up and running. You should get in your agent kit. They usually ship it out pretty quick. Depending on when you guys got contracted, you should receive it probably within 3 to 5 days. But in the meantime, every week I would go on here and go into marketing materials. And the nice thing is most of the stuff that you're going to need on your day-to-day, like I was saying earlier, is going to be at no cost. So if you guys go in and look at your prescription discount cards, anything that has this green free on it is going to be free. And you can order up to so many. It'll tell you how many packs that you can order per week, depending, especially if you're a top producer. I will tell you this, if you are a top producer and you're out there hustling and you're selling 20, 30 policies a week and you need more merchandise, at the end, you can request, more merchandise, and they're going to take a look at your production. If your production's there, I promise they'll send you as many, brochures as you need. But if your production's not there and you're writing one policy a month, please don't go in and order a whole bunch of product. It just doesn't make sense to. But going over some of the different products that are going to be in here is going to be at the top. Let me scroll back up here. This is, like I said, your agent manual. If you want to order an agent manual, I like always having a hard copy of stuff just because I like to flip through pages, not just like an ebook. I'm not a big ebook reader. I like to really flip through and highlight important things, circle things, underline them, do whatever you got to do. Notepads. Anything that we print that you guys are going to get, let me just go into notepads once and pull this up. I'll give you an example. So this is 39 cents a notepad. Okay, so if you guys think of how much it would cost to get a notepad printed, I challenge you to go to like a Staples or a Kinko's and ask them how much it would be to get a branded, logoed, color copied, notepad. it's going to be probably 39 cents a page, let alone a whole notepad. One of the good things about Senior Life is we own our own print house. So anything that we print is going to be at a way cheaper discounted rate than anywhere you're going to go. So you guys can go in here. I mean, 39 cents a notepad. You can't beat that. If you guys go back and look all the different ones that you guys can get, especially like the bigger ones, the 8.5 by 11s. One of the big things that I always order is the pad folios to take in home with me. You guys can order these notepads and use it to slide right into the back of your pad folio. I'm a big branding person. I like to go into a home with a Senior Life shirt, Senior Life logoed, notepads. I always say it's like ordering from Domino's or Pizza Hut. When the Pizza Hut delivery driver pulls up and he's got a nice logo on the top of his car, he comes in with a Pizza Hut hat and shirt on with a Pizza Hut box with Pizza Hut pizza in it. It just feels a lot better. You don't feel like this is a sham company that's delivering your pizza. If they just come with a white box and a raggedy car with a raggedy flannel shirt on, it's just going to make the validity of the company and your trust level go up. So make sure you guys order, especially if you guys are going to be doing recruiting or any type of seminars, or if you guys are setting up anything for clients. If you guys are setting up like education days at the client homes or anything, what I would do is get some of these 8.5 notepads. You guys can pass them out, set them on the desk that you guys are doing for recruiting or for these seminars, and set them up so people can take notes. It just looks a lot more professional. If you guys want to go ahead and order letter envelopes and things, what I would do is, if you guys are sending anything to your clients, why not send it with a nice logo? Make yourself a branded professional. For as cheap as this stuff is, guys, I mean, envelopes. You get a pack of 20 for $2. I mean, you can't get much cheaper than that. Referral cards, these are great to get, especially to take into home with you. If you guys want to take a look on the front, it's just going to be, I don't know if you can see this, it's probably too big, but on one side, you guys can actually mail these out to your clients as well, or leave them behind. One side says thank you, and the other side has a spot for three spots you guys can collect referrals on. So it's about the size of an envelope. So if you did want to send it with a thank you letter, I always say sending thank you cards out for agent referrals. I would always, always, always send out a thank you letter to my clients. Now, I know a lot of you, it may seem like additional work, but I promise you, if you will take 5 minutes at the end of the night and fill out a handwritten card as a thank you letter, and always personalize it, where if you got their animal, if you know their dog's name, or they were going on vacation, I would just, seriously, it takes 2 seconds to sit down and write out however many you wrote for today. If you guys wrote 3 policies up, dear Miss Jones, I had a pleasure sitting with you and your husband. I want to thank you for joining Senior Life. It's a pleasure to be your agent for the rest of your life. If you guys ever need anything, please feel free to reach out to me. I want to wish you a happy vacation. I know you guys are headed to the beach here next week. Until next time I come over, I'll make sure I bring a dog bone for the dog. Whatever. Send it, sign it, send it out in your envelope. I promise you, it's something that will touch their heart, and it'll keep business on the books, for a lot longer. Okay. The next couple things that are on here, your delivery notices, we're going to get into this a little bit later, but these are the ones you're going to want to order off here. I like to order the ones that don't have the Senior Life logo on them, just because when you leave a door notice on somebody's door, it's going to be, a little bit more of a question of, who is this? Who's at my house? If you put Senior Life Insurance Company on there, then when you do try to door knock or give them a call, they may not answer the phone because they know it's you. So I would just get the black ones that are here, get them printed out that are going to be on there. The next part is, like I said, discount cards are going to be leave behinds. So like I said, guys, you guys can feel free to reach through, funnel through here and see what all is going to be on here. Field presentation booklets, free. All your peace of mind brochures, that's what I was saying, guys. All these are free. For your recruiting stuff, if you guys want to order recruiting brochures, they're free as well, which is huge. I mean, you guys are getting a pack of 10 brochures, a bundle. You can get 5 bundles. I mean, that's 50 brochures. The company wants to help you guys grow. More envelopes, if you guys want bigger envelopes, that are on here. So just fish through here and find out what you guys are going to need. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. You guys can do this. Down the left side here also, all of your legacy brochures, are all going to be on here. And as you guys will see, most of those ones are free as well. There's going to be door hangers that you guys can get on there. The door hangers are going to be good for when you're out there door knocking. If you're T in the house, or we call it X in the house now, where you guys are at the home and you guys are going to the neighbor's house, go to the neighbor's house, knock on the door. If they're not home, go ahead and leave that legacy door knocking brochure right behind. So you guys can get on here. Make sure you guys put an order in once a week. That way you guys always have your stuff. Any other type of merchandise that you may need. Let's say you guys want some shirts. Your upline will probably have their own logoed shirts. But if you guys want to get tablecloths, water bottles, the pad folio that we were talking about, you guys can get to take into home with you. Stand-up banners. If you guys are going to do seminars or, like I said, these different ones, then, make sure that you guys, order some of this stuff so you have it for your display purposes. If you guys want to order some hats, there's going to be hats on here. There's also going to be these pill boxes. I think are a pretty cool idea. 50 cents for a pill box, Senior Life logo on them. I use these, for a referral collection. Make sure that you guys, get some of this stuff. It's very inexpensive to get, and you guys can, use it for referral generation or, whatever it may be. All right. Carl, you can kind of go in there and take a look, order this stuff. Like I said, there's going to be shirts on here, hats, whatever it may be. So browse in there, guys. See what you guys want to order. But like I said, that's pretty much all what's going to be in the agent store.
I didn't see any men's shirts on there. That's why I chatted that.
Oh, let me take a look. Let me see what's on here. They were on here, so let me go through.
Yeah, I just seen the women's shirt, like the pink purplish.
Yeah, that's a good question. I thought they were on here. They were on here. Let's see. Let me go back to the first page and make sure I didn't skip past it.
Yeah, that just brings me to another quick question. You're going into a home, you're going in like semi-casual, and if you just wear like a polo shirt, or is that typically what you would do?
I mean, I wear a polo, but I always wear a Senior Life polo, just to be honest, because I like to go in branded. I like to go up to a house when you're door knocking on a door and you got a Senior Life logo, you got a Senior Life hat, you got a Senior Life pad folio. I mean, you got to think, for seniors, trust is everything. There's a lot of people trying to scam seniors these days. So having logos, I mean, some people, think about how many people, the first thing they ask you for is what? A business card. Even though you can go to Staples and print out for $9.99 for 500, people feel like when you have a business card, you're legit. So the more branding you had, I had always been a person. I even get jackets, guys. I'll go into a place that does custom like embroidery and stuff. I'll buy a nice Under Armour jacket or something and get Senior Life logo big on the back, my name on the front, Senior Life on the left badge. Because when I'm knocking on a door and they're peeking out the window, I want them to see Senior Life Insurance Company, and they're going to scan you up and down to figure out who you are. So, Carl, that's a good question. I don't know why we don't have those shirts on there. It might be an error because it looks like they updated some stuff and put because plastic cups were never on there. So maybe they just went on, updated, and accidentally forgot to add the men's shirts back on there. So I'm going to write that down to make sure I ask about that.
I thought you had to go to the Land's End to order most of your shirts.
Well, everybody will have a different way. That's what I'm saying. Your upline might have a different a website to go to where they order theirs or a certain style of shirt. In the future, I will tell you, we will have a website that has all different types of shirts. I mean, from your cheap shirt to if you like, a Nike golf shirt that might be $69.99 and you want to get that printed with a Senior Life logo, you'll be able to go on there and all logos will already be stored to where you'll just be able to click add this shirt, add this hoodie, add this jacket, pay now, and you'll be able to go in there and buy them, not just from Senior Life for themselves, but from our agency overall. So it'll just make things a lot simpler so that way people can, buy whatever product that they want, whether they want, a polo, they want a, maybe a dress shirt, whatever it may be. We'll put a whole bunch of different options on there that people can go on and go on and buy. So it's all in one area, because for me, for you guys, maybe your upline has one place, next upline has another place. There's just so many different things, and it's going to be hard to streamline it. So in the future, here in the very near future, we'll have a website you guys will be able to go on and purchase all that stuff. Okay. But for now, I will find out when we take a break. I will get an update on where to get this stuff at for now. In the meantime. Okay. So Carl, I appreciate you bringing that up, because I didn't know what the insurance
Hello,
were.
sir. Gandhi, how are you? Fine, sir. Yes, sir.
Hang on one second, guys.
So these.
Whoever caller 10 is.
Oh, okay, good. Good news. Well, I figured that.
Someone needs to mute.
Oh no, they're not muted. They've been what do they call it? What was that show, TV show? They've been ejected. They've been injected. Hang on one second. That's one reason, guys, why I said in the beginning of the call. Here's the thing. When you get on training, this isn't just to get on to show that you were on. I promise you guys are going to learn some stuff today. I know we're going over some preliminary stuff right now, but once we get into the actual training, there's going to be a lot of stuff that you guys are going to learn. So please don't just jump on and go out there and go through the McDonald's drive-through and just kind of drive around listening, because you guys aren't going to benefit from it just by doing that. And it doesn't help everybody else. So any other questions on the merchandise or anything on the Senior Life store before we move on? No? All right, perfect. Carl, thanks for that. I'm going to find that out here, like I said, later this afternoon. All right, flipping back over to the presentation here. All right. Oh, bear with me here. Let me pull this back up. All right, you guys can all see this slide pretty good. We're back. All right.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, I can see
All right.
it.
A couple of the other things, guys, for the agency resources, you guys will be able to go in there. There's going to be different memos on stuff that we update as a company. There's going to be the downloads and info tab. You're going to be able to go in there and download any information, such as health insurance information. If you guys need different resources, such as like a state list of where we're licensed at as a company to sell in, any conditions charts you guys are going to need to maybe give you a little bit of an insight if they had a heart attack or stroke, where to place them. You guys can download a conditions charts and maybe laminate it. Any correction worksheets you guys need to fill out if you have an error on an app, you need to send it into the company to update it. And also any apps and forms. Now, you're not going to need this because, like I said, you guys have the Slice app, so you're not going to have to really worry about the apps and paper apps. But if you guys are doing a training and you want to print out some apps so you guys can go over them and people can kind of highlight things and circle different things for underwriting, feel free to go in there. And then there's also client reinstatement forms. Okay. The next part, we're going to go over, if nobody has any questions on the agent portal or agency resources, just getting organized for your week. This is probably one of the most important things I could go over today, is planning your week for success. Each person here should receive like I said, a new agent kit. Once you get that new agent kit, guys, you guys are going to want to make sure that you guys go on and make sure you guys get organized, get a bin set up. I used to get a bin in the car. They used to have them plastic bins that you could get at Staples where you could put file folders in. I used to put file folders and tabs of all my different brochures. So I kind of kept an inventory to know that, if for any reason, at the end of the week, I would know pretty much if you are running out of anything or anything like that. So make sure your leads are ordered every Wednesday. Make sure that you guys get some type of route planner, such as Sales Navigator, Route for Me, Road Warrior. You guys want to make sure that you guys are staying, I would say, efficient in the field. One of the biggest things you guys can do is take the time, enter your leads into a route planner, and what it's going to do is help your door knocking, help you guys overall get everything that you're going to need put in there. So when you guys are running your route and you have your appointments booked or whatever it may be, you can run all the way up to the end of your route, and then on the way home, why not just run some of the appointments on the way back that you're headed back to and just run that route in reverse? You're already driving that way. You're already going back the way you came. So why not hit some of these doors on the way home? Some of these people might be home. You know, you're already headed home. Why not get some extra activity in? Again, make sure you're on the conference calls, plug it in so you guys don't miss competitions. Make sure you're missing some of the new updates and info. We're going to be going over that on the conference calls, and know what your goals are for the week and what production you need to hit. If you guys don't know what your production goals are and what you need to hit per week, to me, you're missing the boat. You guys need to know what you need to hit, what type of numbers you need to hit. If you ordered a certain amount of leads, you're going to want to know how many leads did I get, how much do I owe on them, what day do they come due, and you need to make sure that, okay, I need to issue $3,000 in business every week to make sure I cover my costs and plus make profit. If you guys are just running your business inefficiently, I would say you're not running your business like a business. You're running it like an employee that isn't a good one at that. So you guys want to make sure you track this stuff, make sure you know what your numbers are, and make sure you know what issued business you need each week to hit them. Okay. Next, standards and expectations. For me, one of my biggest standards were, even as my own standard as an agent, not even accountability wise from your upline, I always wanted to make sure I wrote no less than 2,500 a week. And to me, that was weak. 2,500 a week, that's nothing in this business. I know some of you may feel like a mountain at this point, but when you get out there and once you get into full stride, 2,500, guys, there's guys writing 2,500 a day, let alone a week. Some of you guys are looking at things. If you make a number big, then it's going to be big. But if you break this thing down, if you're working 4 or 5 days a week, guys, you only need to write about 400 or 500 a day. That's one app a day to take care of what you need to take care of for the week. So make sure you guys are writing a minimum. My minimum commitment, not a goal, my commitment each week would be 2,500 weekly. If you're a mid-level agent or a top-level agent, I would say your minimum commitment should be $3,500 to $4,500, or I'd say even $5,000 a week if you're a top producer per week. That's $15,000 to $20,000 a month. And here's what's going to happen. Once you raise that bar up, once you guys raise that up, you'll never be able to go back to writing 1,500 a week, 2,000 a week, 2,500 a week. It's almost like you went and raised the bar. You're benching 250 pounds. Can you imagine going back to benching a $110, 115 like you did when you first started? It's almost impossible to do. And if you guys have ever done this, it's a very weird feeling. So I used to work out all the time. I went to the gym about 5 or 6 years later, realizing that I couldn't lift as much. And I'm sitting there watching a 16-year-old kid push up like 225 pounds beside me, and I felt like a little featherweight over there trying to bench 145. It wasn't a good feeling knowing that. First of all, I couldn't believe that I once had benched more than that, and now I had to get there. But I'm telling you, once you raise that up, you guys just get into that zone, and you'll start writing that business constantly every week, and it'll just be a normal thing. So set these goals. Set yourself at 2,500. Next week, edge yourself up to 3,000. You know, get baby steps up into the numbers that you want to get to, and get out there and set them for the week. Leads, printing them. Make sure that you guys have downloaded Firefox again, because if you don't download Firefox, you're not going to be able to pull up your leads correctly. Make sure you go into the agent portal. Make sure you guys have them printed again by every Friday so you're not delayed Saturday morning. And I would invest into a small laser printer. A laser printer compared to an inkjet, the inkjet is going to take up too much ink. It's slow. It takes forever to print out. And a laser printer, you can get them for as low as, I've seen them for $75, $80 and brand new. They're going to yield probably 2,500, and you can buy higher toners for 6,000 pages before you got to replace them. And guys, when you hit print, even if you printed 50 pieces of paper, it's going to shoot them out like a Xerox machine. And like I said, you're not going to be spending $80 to $100 a month on ink. You know, you might not have to replace that ink for 6 months, depending on how much you print. So definitely invest into a small laser printer. Ordering, you know, get with your manager, make sure what inventory is available in your area. Make sure that we're going to get the information that you're going to need out there to make sure you guys get them filled properly. Please do not call the lead department to try to place orders. They're not going to be able to place them until they get okay by your upline. Make sure that, you know, lead inventories are only going to go out so many days per week. So if it's in between there, you're going to have to go off the old one until the new one comes out. But please don't call up the lead department, tie up the lead department. They're not going to be able to fill orders for you without going through your upline. financing for you guys. Some of you guys that are here with us that are, being able to finance leads through the company. Everybody's going to have a different stipulation for financing. So get with your upline manager, see what the financing is for you. There's going to be a new billing cycle every Wednesday. So I want you guys to take a look at a calendar, pull up a calendar real quick, whether it's on your computer, your phone. If you still got the little dog one on the wall, do what you got to do, pull it up. But the new billing cycle's every Wednesday. And the reason why I want to go over this is you guys need to know what leads you're getting and when they're coming due. Okay, so I'm going to slide off the screen here for a second and pull up a calendar so you guys can see it. For you guys that can't pull one up. All right, let's see. Let me know if you guys can see my calendar here. Bear with me. Can you guys see the calendar up here? All right, so if you guys are looking at Wednesday the 13th, let's say that's a new billing cycle. So if you get your leads on the 13th, if you're financing leads, then they're going to come due 2 Mondays after that Wednesday. So if you're financing leads, if you get them on the 13th, they're going to come due March 25th. If you get them today and you happen to get them on the 15th, you're still going to go off of this current week's billing cycle of the Wednesday the 13th, so they'll still come due on the 25th. If you guys are just purchasing leads outright, then when you buy them on the 13th, you get billed the 13th and pay for them with a credit or debit card. If you guys end up needing leads throughout the week before the next billing cycle, so if it's the 18th or the 19th coming this week, you've already placed a lead order for 20 leads on the 13th and they're coming due on the 25th. If you guys order leads, let's say on Monday, you needed some more leads, you're having a great week, you already wrote $4,000 before the weekend was over, you guys want to get some more activity in, you can get leads before the next billing cycle on the 20th, but if you get leads on the 18th or 19th, they're going to come due the same time as on the 13th. They're going to come due on the 25th. Okay? It's a little confusing, but I want to make sure you guys understand it. Does anyone have any questions on understanding when your billing cycle is? The billing cycle is every Wednesday, so the 13th, the 20th, and the 27th of this month. If you order them anytime in between the 13th and 20th, they're going to come due on the 25th. If you wait to the 20th, then you'll start a whole new cycle, then you won't have anything due until the Monday the 1st. Everybody understand that? All right. So we're going to go back to the slide. All right. So going back to leads. Know how many leads you have when you got them, and make sure you guys are knowing when they're coming due. Because, if you guys get leads on Wednesday, make sure if you get leads, you plan on going to work. If you don't plan on going to work, do not order leads on Wednesday, because here's what's going to happen. If you guys order leads on Wednesday and you don't even work them until a week and a half from now, those leads are going to come due on that Monday. And as soon as you write a policy, it's going to come due. So make sure if you guys get leads, you get them on Wednesday, you get them on Thursday, get them on Friday. If you plan on booking appointments, which we're going to get into on Saturdays, make sure you guys have them and they're ready to go. Okay. What is a lead? Everybody has a different definition of a lead. For me, lead is just, here's what I Googled. I Googled it just for fun to see what it said. It says, in sales, a lead is an initiation of a consumer's interest or an inquiry into products or services of a business. So basically what they're saying is a lead gets you to an area and keeps you consistent in your sales. A lead is just a name and a phone number of somebody that has intent on wanting to know more about your products. A lead is not a sale. A lead gets you in the house, but a lead is not a sale. I want you guys to understand that. A lot of people get that confused. So when you get into the house, it's your job to make that lead turn into a sale, and everybody's going to have a different ratio depending on what it is. Okay, so the leads keep you consistent. One thing I always say about leads, do not be afraid of the cost of a lead. A cost of a lead means nothing, and let me tell you why. Number one, your lead's cost is going to be basically a write-off, number one. Number two, as long as you're getting leads every week, it's going to keep consistent sales in. A lot of people think, well, if I get less leads, I'll make more money through the week because I don't have as much cost. Listen, that's so false. If you guys don't get leads, your activity level is going to be down unless you're going to be out there prospecting, knocking on cold doors, talking to everybody. Unless you're going to keep that type of activity up, you're never going to be able to create the activity you're going to need without getting into an area. So I've always bought 20 leads minimum every week, at least 10, no matter what. Minimum 10. I've always wanted to buy 20 if I was going to be a mid to top level producer. If you're a top level producer, there's some top level producers are probably buying 40 a week, 60 a week. So make sure you guys don't have a cost fear and that you look at it like an investment and not an expense. You can't sell what you don't have. So I don't care if you're McDonald's or Pizza Hut. If you're McDonald's or Pizza Hut, in order to sell hamburgers and pizza, every Monday they got to get a shipment of new beef and new pizza making equipment. So you guys want to make sure you get your leads, get them, get out there, and keep your sales consistent throughout that process. The next section, lead types, right? There's different lead types and pricing. Now, this is in most states. Some states are going to be different depending on, the returns and everything. But the direct mail pieces, for the most part, on average, are going to be about $25. Now, I know in Florida and different parts of the country, like California, they may be a little bit higher. They could be $30 to $34, $35, whatever it may be. But for the average, in most states, it's going to be about $25 on average. Direct mail is the ones that they're mailing out to the clients and they're sending back in. TV leads are pretty much 34 across the board, unless they're a Spanish lead or in some different markets and demographics, it might be a little higher. Yellow page ads are awesome. We don't get a lot of them in, but yellow page ads, guys, think about this. Somebody went into Yellow Pages, looked up life insurance, and gave us a call from a yellow page ad. Some people still use phone books. I know it's a rare thing these days, but some people still use their phone book. Facebook leads, we just started this here recently, $15 a lead. They can generate them within 3-4 days. So then we also have follow-up leads that you guys will be able to get. They range from $2 and up, depending on the lead type, but the average is probably about $2, and that depends on if they're available. So some of the different benefits and pros and cons, I mean, every lead type to me works. I've had top agents only use direct mail. I've had top agents only use TV. I had 2 top agents that were writing 25 to 30 grand every month. If you asked the one, direct mail was king. If you asked the other, TV was king. The TV guy said direct mail was the devil. The direct mail guy said TV was the devil. What's the difference? They were both working 2 different leads and they both wrote the same amount of business. Guys, lead is all perception. Don't get caught up in which type of lead is better, how much money you can profit on more is better. None of it matters. If you got a pack of 20 leads, there was 5 direct mail, 10 TV, and 5 yellow book, just go work the leads. Don't get caught up in what type of lead, what area, this area brings back a better lead. Don't worry about none of those things. Now, what I will tell you is there is different parts that direct mail has a benefit, let's say, over TV. Direct mail, they're more condensed. They're in one area, so you can kind of get your activity levels a little bit better for booking purposes because we mailed out to one demographic in a certain area, certain zip code. TV is a little bit more scattered. TV leads, guys, are going to be more of a shotgun blast because we can't predict where somebody in Pennsylvania or Florida is going to come through at. Hang on one second, guys. All right. We don't know where those TV leads are going to come in at. So they may have 3 in Pittsburgh, 5 in Erie, every day. But eventually those leads are going to build up over the next 2 to 3 days to a week to where there might be 10, 15 leads right there in Erie, Pennsylvania, or whatever it may be. So you just got to do a little bit better job if you're using TV leads or yellow page leads or even the Facebook leads because they're going to be in a different area. They're not all going to be in one zip code. So you just got to do a better job booking, controlling your schedule, and making sure that you're booking them in a direction that's going to make sense. Okay. This is an example of a direct mail lead type. The nice thing about this, guys, there is no smoke and mirrors here. This here's a 2019 benefit for Pennsylvania citizens. Says here, as a resident of Pennsylvania, you're entitled to more benefits that are not provided by your government funds. You now have access to 2019 state regulated programs, which is going to pay 100% of all your final expenses up to $30,000. Return this within 5 days to request new benefit information. The nice thing is, guys, they handwrite the information, put it down on there, so when you call the customer, you can let them know that they filled out a handwritten postcard for more information about final expense life insurance. Now, each direct mail piece may be different depending on the area, especially if we've mailed out multiple times this year. We're going to switch the lead piece up so they don't get the same one each time. So this may be looking a little bit different from the one you get. This was just happened to be one I had in Pennsylvania. So make sure you guys check out, the new lead type and the demographic that's in that area. Next part, this is the lead type of a TV lead. Now, your TV lead is going to show on the left-hand side here the first name, last name of the client, the address. It's going to show you also a phone number where you see ANI. Guys, the ANI is the automatic number input. That's like the caller ID. So like this one here, to give a reference, this person called in from 724 number, but 8466 being the last four. That number they called in from, maybe that number was their home number, but when they left their information, they gave an updated phone number for a better way to contact them, being their cell phone. So make sure you guys take a look. Sometimes you might have had somebody call in from their brother's house. You call the ANI number, they say, no, there's nobody here by that name. I say, well, it looks like Tammy had called in from this phone number. The only way we get this phone number is if somebody called in from this phone line. Do you know a Tammy Yurtsy? And they, oh, yes, my sister. Oh, well, your sister must have called in. It looks like here she called in from this number. Do you have a better number to reach her at? Maybe call in and see if they have a better number to reach them at. Or if they do update a phone number, then try to call the first one and then call the second one afterwards. Date of birth, it's either going to give you date of birth or a birthday or any type of age. Call time, when they called in, 12/17/18. They called in at 11:37 a.m. Hey, that might be the better time to call them is in the morning versus in the evening. So try to give them a call at that time. The lead type at the bottom is going to say ROP. ROP stands for return of premium. It might say final expense, FE for final expense. Just depending on the type of lead that the commercial they've seen on the TV commercial. They did see a TV commercial. If you guys want to get familiar with what TV commercial that they've seen, you guys can go on YouTube under the Senior Life Insurance Company channel. Go under commercials. They're going to show you all the different commercials that we run. So when you call these people, you can kind of help jog their memory. If they don't remember calling in, you can kind of say, well, remember the commercial was talking about the high, rising costs of the funeral deaths, these days. Jog their memory. You want to know the lead type and be comfortable with the type of commercial. The lead report. On the front of every lead report, whether you get a lead, there's a TV lead, Facebook lead, whatever it may be, the first part of your lead report is going to be on here, and it's going to show how many leads you got. It's going to break it down to types, TV, yellow page, give you a total lead count, and it's also going to give you guys a total lead charge. And it's going to also tell you when you got them uploaded. So this one here showed 12/31/18, and then also the charge date. Remember, I told you want to start making sure you guys know where these charge dates are so that way you know how much the total charge is and then what date they're going to come due on. This one here showed uploaded 12/31. The total charge is going to be $1,340, and the charge date was going to be on the 14th of January. So the other thing you want to look at is the total premium. The total premium is basically the estimated amount of annual life production for the annual production that you should write out of this pack. So if you got a pack of 40, then they're saying you should write about 8,000 out of these 40 because, out of 20, you should be writing about almost 4,000. Okay, so that just kind of gives you a basics on the lead. Any questions, guys, on the leads, the lead report, anything like that so far? Nope. All right, moving on. Leads the way. If you guys have not downloaded this yet, make sure you go into your iPhone, iPad, Android device, whichever it may be. Download the Leads the Way app. Okay, the Leads the Way app, is a game changer. The Leads the Way app is basically like an Uber for leads. One of the biggest things that it does, guys, is when you go to pull up the Leads the Way app, the Leads the Way app is going to pull up an inventory that's only in inventory for 72 hours. So we only keep leads in this inventory for 72 hours. Now, these are not financeable. We can't finance Leads the Way app because they're too fresh, and we send them right to your phone. So if you guys go in the inventory, punch in your state, different states that you're licensed in, it's going to send you whatever inventory is in there from the last 72 hours. And guys, if it shows up, it's going to show up as a notification. So let's say you guys are out there working your leads and maybe you need a few extra leads, but you don't want to get a whole lead pack until next week. Well, this is going to give you notifications on your phone, and it's going to pull up and say, hey, there's a new lead available in your area, and it's going to tell you exactly how many miles away from you it is. So you might pull up in your area, and it might say there's one 0.5 miles away from you around the corner. Guys, if there's a lead a half a mile away from you that just got generated in the last 5 minutes, if it just got generated and it was a brand new lead, it just came in, it's going to show up gold. You see, guys, up there where it says $34 gold. If it shows up gold, that means that lead has just been generated within the last hour. So if you buy that lead, you click on it and you hit buy now, you can buy it now. It'll charge you right out of your debit card or credit card, whatever you set up in the system, and it'll send you that lead immediately. And when it sends it to you, it's going to send you that lead, and it's also going to send you their name, phone number, and address. If you click on the address, it'll GPS it right to the door. So imagine Miss Jones called in 5 minutes ago. 10 minutes from now, you're knocking on the door saying hello, that it looks like you just called into one of our TV commercials. Guys, I don't know how hot, more of a hot lead you want to get, but calling in 5 minutes ago and knocking on the door is clutch. We also have a way to do live transfers for you guys that are going to do telesales. You can set it up, and as soon as Miss Jones calls into the TV commercial, it's going to route that call right to your phone and ask you if you want to purchase immediately. If you buy that lead right there when it asks you, you got to be quick because somebody else might buy that lead first. But if you buy it right there when they call, you'll answer the phone and you can basically say, hey, Miss Jones, how you doing? My name is Shane. I'm here with the Senior Care Plan. Looks like you just called into one of our TV commercials. Let me ask you a question. Were you looking in to information for yourself or for somebody else in the family? You can go right into a sale right over the phone. So guys, this app is a game changer. It's going to show you how many brand new leads are in the area. They're hot leads. Like I said, you cannot finance them. You do got to buy them. You can buy 1 lead, 2 leads, or 10 leads. Doesn't matter. And then, like I said, it's going to bill you straight to your debit or credit card. So the Leads the Way app is pretty slick. Make sure you guys download it and get it in there. We're at a breaking point right now. Do you guys have any questions so far on anything that we've gone over so far?
No, pretty clear.
All right.
All good so far.
All right, perfect. I want to thank you guys for the ones that did not interrupt the training. And whoever is on here right now that is listening, I want to please ask you, when we come back from break, if you do not plan on being attentive to the training, and you got, like I said in the beginning, if you're doing other things, going to doctor's appointments, going to McDonald's, please, it's disrespectful, number one, not even just to me, put me aside, to the other people that are on here that are paying attention, that want to learn, because you know what I think, the ones that are listening, they're going to be the ones out here doing production, and you're going to be the one figuring out why you're not writing as much business. So please just be respectful, either put your phone on mute or get off the training call. And I'm just trying to be as open and blunt as possible. So if you guys can respect that for me. And when we come back from break, let's take a 1 hour break, guys. Please get back on. It is, let's see what time it is now. It is 10:30. So let's get back on at 11:30 sharp. Please get on beforehand so we can start right at 11:30. Don't be coming on there 10 minutes late because I don't want you to miss anything that's on the training. So let's go get some lunch in us, go to the gym, do whatever you got to do, and let's get back on the call. And if you guys have any questions that you think about while you're on this hour break, please write them down. The first thing we're going to do when we get back on is go over anything that may have came to your mind. Even if we didn't go over something, please bring it up. It might have been something that I forgot to bring up that might be important. So it'll help everybody learn. So let's go on break, and then
This conference will now be recorded.
All right, guys. Well, welcome back. Hopefully everyone got some lunch in them or took a break for a second, and we're going to get the rest of this going. And then throughout the day here, we'll see how long it takes us to get through everything. We maybe take maybe a 15, 20-minute break in between just to give you guys some break from listening and taking notes. But the next part that we're going to go over, make sure you definitely get a pen and paper out. We're going to go over different ways to schedule and book your appointments for the week. Whether you're going to book them over the phone or you're going to do a door knock. Either one's completely up to you. I always say every way works as long as you work it. Neither way works if you don't work it. So it don't matter how much we go over in different methods of booking. For instance, you guys are going to talk to your upline, whoever your manager is. You guys might have a certain way you guys book that, you know, like I said, you know, whether you're booking Saturdays for Mondays and Tuesdays or, you know, booking Mondays for Tuesday and Wednesdays, either way, you're going to need a certain amount of appointments set per week. I always say if you're going to be doing this, especially full time and taking leads, you need to be working at least minimum 3 days a week, 4 days a week, pretty much throughout that week. You need at least that many field days in to get the right amount of appointments in to make sure that you're making enough to not only pay back your leads, but to profit correctly. So we're going to go over some different methods, whichever method you guys use or whichever one your upline uses. It's completely up to you. I'm just giving you guys some different ways, some different weapons. So the first way we're going to talk about is, you know, method one. Method one is going to be on the phones, dialing, setting appointments, you know, for Monday and Tuesday, booking on Saturdays. So the reason I say you guys want to make sure your leads are printed out, you want to make sure your leads are printed out every Friday before 5 o'clock to make sure that you got the right amount of leads, you got the leads in, make sure that you're able to print them, everything's good to go, because if there is any problem, you want to make sure you do that before 5 p.m. so the home office is still open. Now, the next part of this here, like I said, scheduling and booking Saturdays, we're going to go over on method one. So method one, Saturdays between 8 and 12 in the morning on the phones, dialing for Monday and Tuesday. And you're going to be booking appointments. I know on here it says 9:30. I'm going to update this slide. It's going to be 9 basically to 7. So you're going to book a 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, a 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock for Monday and Tuesday. Now, you should be able to book a full 2 days full of appointments between 8 and 12 on Saturdays. Now, remember, this is still going to be hit or miss, guys. It's all going to depend on who you get a hold of, who's home at that time, and vice versa. So you might have a great calling day one week and maybe a not as great 8 to 12 the next week. But you got to stay consistent on whichever method you're using. You can't go from one method to another one day and then the next day try something else. Stick with it, because the only way averages work out is if you focus on the average amount of appointments set. So, you know, going 8 to 12 Saturday, let's just say we're shooting for 12 appointments booked between the 2 days. So for me personally, I typically don't care if I'm booking, you know, 4 on one day and 8 on another, or 6 and 6. I mean, ideally you'd want to get 6 on Monday and 6 on Tuesday, but if not, you just got to make sure that you get 12 appointments booked total. So for Monday and Tuesday. So if you're getting 12 appointments booked, if you don't get 12 appointments booked, let's say you only have 8 appointments booked between 8 and 12, go do whatever you got to do for the afternoon. And I would come back between 5 and 9 on Saturday and set the rest of the amount of appointments, because whoever wasn't home during the morning and the afternoon on Saturday will more likely be home Saturday evening between 5 and 9. So you want to make sure that no matter what, just don't go and only have 6 appointments between 8 and 12 and then just not come back and set the rest, because setting your appointments up, especially if you're going to book appointments based upon, you know, phone booking, you want to make sure that you have at least 12 appointments set, because that's going to give you the best guarantee to have the activity that you're going to need to, you know, to get the job done. So once you book on 8 to 12, that's going to be on Saturday. Next, you're going to be wanting to pretty much be on Monday morning. Make sure you're, like I said, if you're on the schedule on the conference calls, where conference calls are 8:30, again, get with your upline and make sure what times. I'm just going to give you an example. 8:30 a.m. on conference calls on Monday morning. Make sure you're on the call. You guys should be on this call on your way to your first appointment at 9 o'clock. So by the time the conference call is over, you got, you know what I mean, the motivational call on Monday in, you got the week numbers, you see who you're competing against, and you're at your first house by 9 o'clock ready to hit your first appointment. Monday, you're going to be running your appointments, and anybody that no-shows you or anything else in between that, you're going to want to make sure that you guys door knock in between there. So as I said about your route planner, if you guys have a route planner set up, And in your route planner, you go ahead and put in the appointments that you guys have set, for Monday and Tuesday. Then I would pretty much make sure that you have in your route planner the additional leads that you have left over that you didn't get a hold of on the phone calls. Make sure that you're door knocking them in between. If you put them in your route planner along with your leads, then you're going to make sure that you don't miss a house, because you might be going right past one of the leads that you have that you didn't get a hold of on your way to your first or second appointment. So make sure you're putting your door knocks scheduled in there. First appointment starting at 9 a.m., last one being at 7. When you get no-showed, you can, basically start door knocking and try to get into another presentation to make sure that you're getting the right amount of sits that you're going to need for the day. If you can't get a presentation, you can't get in there right off a door knock, and, just try to book another appointment, for Tuesday or Wednesday if you need to. So, make sure you're creating the additional activity. And like I said, door knocking in between, even if you're jam packed and you have, 7 and 7 booked, for each day, you may not be able to sit with anybody else from 9 to 7, but you could still go ahead and set the appointment right from there. And we're going to go over more on setting and booking and different methods. Not only this is just more booking your schedule, but we're going to go over here later today about actually the scripting, what to say, and how to set your schedule from that. Tuesday, same thing as Monday. You're going to run your appointments, do door knocks in between 9 to 7, same thing as Monday. So Monday and Tuesday, you're going to run the exact same schedule. And if you do have the conference calls on Tuesday as well, make sure you jump on the Tuesday morning conference calls. Wednesday, what I would be doing, this would be my follow-up day. I'd be trying to get as many booked appointments. Monday and Tuesday be my powerhouse days, setting from Saturday. And, whatever you didn't get set for Monday and Tuesday, I'd roll over into Wednesday. If you didn't have anything set for Wednesday, I would just take my leads that I have left over, put them into my route planner, and do nothing but door knock all day that day between 9 and 7, trying to get into presentations to get the right amount of sits you need to make sure your production's in for Thursday. Thursday, if you didn't hit your numbers, if you didn't hit, what you need to do, I'd say most agents are going to work 3 to 4 days on average, 5 if they're a top producer, 6 if they really want to hit their top goals and numbers. But Thursday, I'd be following up on anybody that no-showed me from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and any other additional activity that I created from teeing the house, collecting referrals, calling the referrals, and on Wednesday evening and booking them for my Thursday. But I would always set up pretty much working from Monday to Thursday, booking Saturday for Monday and Tuesday, and making sure that on Wednesday and Thursday, you're creating additional activity on Wednesday and booking whatever additional activity that you don't get in on presentations on Wednesday, booking them for Thursday. So if you guys will follow this type of a schedule, I promise you, if you get the leads and you follow this type of schedule, that you'll have no problem hitting the type of numbers you need to hit for the week. So this is method 1. Okay. Now, method 2 is a little bit different for folks that can't maybe work on the weekend. Maybe they, for me, I'll give you an example. For me, my son was always in sports. I coached all his sports. I was at baseball games and practices every Saturday morning, and he might be in tournaments, so I might be running from city to city going to different tournaments throughout the day on Saturday and Sunday. So for me personally, it wasn't that I couldn't put a full work week in. I just couldn't dedicate my Saturdays or Sundays to either working in the field or being home to book appointments. So method 2 is going to be booking for Thursday. Since Thursday, normally is the end of our week and Friday being the beginning of the new week, you could be booking on Thursday. If you're going to book on Thursdays, it's a weekday, not as many people are going to be home. So you're going to put a little bit more work in on Thursday, booking from 10 to 2. On the phones, booking, I would say, same thing, 9 to 7. The times don't change, just the day that we're calling does. Booking for Friday. So I would try to book Friday, since Friday's the new Monday, booking it solid from 9 to 7 and everything in between. So setting, if you don't set 6 appointments for Friday, again, just like Saturday, I'd be back on the phones from 5 to 9, booking more appointments to make sure you get 6 solid set for Friday. Friday, we're going to start to have, maybe some Friday morning calls as well, because it is kind of our new Monday. So we're going to have some Friday 8:30 calls, which we'll be introducing here later this month. 8:30 in the morning as well. Get you up, get you ready to go, get you out there to your first appointments. Friday, same thing as before. Running appointments, door knocking in between, same thing as we talked about before. Monday, this is where, maybe you take off the weekend, you wrote some business on Friday, and now we're back to Monday. You took the weekend off, 8:30 in the morning again, back up on the conference call, plugging into the system, making sure you go over any updates. And then Monday, 10 to 2 again on the phones, booking. Now Monday, you should be able to book for Tuesday and Wednesday. So 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. On Monday. Why did I put this at 10 a.m. Booking compared to Saturday? Mondays throughout the week, people might get up later. Number two, if you do have a family, you might have multiple kids. You got to get them to the bus stop, get them breakfast made, and then by the time you get home, you have no distractions. By the time you drop the kids off, for school, you have no distractions from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Even if you got to get the kids off the bus at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, you should be able to get already your Tuesday and Wednesday set up. And again, if you don't get it, go to the bus stop, get the kids, do whatever you got to do, go to the gym, come back 5 to 9, making sure you still have 12 appointments set for the next 2-day period. So that's Thursday, booking for Friday, take the weekend off, make sure you're back up Monday morning on the phones, pounding the phones out, making sure you get 12 appointments booked for Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday and Wednesday, obviously running appointments, door knocking in between, be at the first house by 9 a.m., last house by 7. On the schedule, which we'll go into more when we go over phone booking, but I would also first book my first appointment at 9 and my first one on the schedule at 7. So now I'm already in the area and I already know that I'm going to be in that area from 9 to 7. Whether I only get 3 appointments booked or not, I'm going to be in that area from 9 to 7, creating whatever additional activity I need to make my week a successful week. Wednesday, you're going to run the same as Tuesday. And now Thursday, you're going to follow up throughout the morning or afternoon. If you didn't hit your numbers and you need to get out there in the field to hit your numbers for the week, get out there, follow up on any additional appointments, any door knocks or anything you need to do. Get out there and hit them first thing in the morning, and then I would get back and make sure then you get a call session in later in the afternoon between 5 and 9 to book your Friday. So if you have to skip the phones on Thursday morning to make sure that you hit your numbers for the week, because this week is the matters the most, right? Because we're in this week currently. So make sure that you don't miss your goals and commitments for the week. If you need to use Thursday, I'll reiterate, use Thursday 10 to 2 to make sure you get out there and hit whatever numbers you need to hit. Get back, get your leads printed out, and get back on the phones from 5 to 9, booking for Friday and start that week back over. So they would be the two different methods. In between, we were talking about delivery notices earlier. Delivery notices is going to be key. For the delivery notice, we always call this going fishing, especially if you're doing door knocking only, or you're going to door knock in between. It doesn't matter. But you want to, every time you knock on a door, if you do not leave a delivery notice, you just wasted your time knocking on the door because nobody's home. So if they're not home, leave a delivery notice, put your name and contact information in there, and they're going to give you a call back. Now, me personally, I don't answer the phone when these people call back. I don't call them back either and book an appointment. If I'm in the field and these people are calling me from a delivery notice, even if I'm on my way to another appointment, if somebody just called me from a delivery notice and they're in relative area to me, I will drive right back to the delivery notice. So I'm going to get off the web here and I'm going to go and just show you guys the delivery notices. So the delivery notices, you want to use them if you are in between your appointments, or if, let's say, you're an agent that doesn't like the phones, don't feel like you get good results maybe on the phones, or don't have the time to put in on the phones, then you can do just straight door knocking. What I do is, if you're going to do straight door knocking, I'd be up first thing on Monday morning, get on the conference call, and I would be hitting the house first thing. So if you're door knocking, I'd be door knocking Monday through Thursday, 9 to 7. And the reason I say that is some days are going to be great. Some days maybe nobody's home and you had to leave door sticky notes. But when they call back, like I said, look at the number, take a look at your lead, see who it is calling back, and then I'd be headed straight over to that house. Because listen, if somebody just called you from a door sticker, where are they at? Home, right? So especially you guys that have good weather, and it's sunny out, these people might have just walked in the door, came in the house, screen doors wide open, and you show up back on the porch just randomly, right? And they say, oh, I just called you back. Yeah, you know what? I don't have a lot of good service in the field. Didn't really see you call. But anyway, I was stopping back. I left you a note earlier. And guys, here's the door knocking script that I use. It's very, very simple and to the point, right? So who on here kind of wants to role play a little bit today? Anybody on here before I pick someone? All right. Who do we got? Who said I will?
I'll get in on.
All right. Who am I talking to?
This is Jacob.
All right, Jacob. Nice to meet you. I'm going to pull my webcam back on here, and then that way I can pull this script up. So you guys can still see the script, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. So, Jake, if I was coming to your door, number one, like I said, you guys want to be branded. If you guys are walking up to the door, I would always have a Senior Life shirt on. I would have my Padfolio and my iPad right with me. Don't go to the door with a whole briefcase and a book bag on, making it look like you're going to be there for hours. Go up to the door. And here's one trick that I learned going to the door. If you guys are on your way to the door, especially if the house is a little bit set back in, when you're on your way to the door and you see the lady sitting on the front porch or the guys in the house and you can see them looking out the window at you, one thing you always want to do on your way to the house is take a look at them and wave to them and smile on your way to the house. It kind of throws their brain off a little bit because it almost makes it look like you know who they are. And then they try to figure out who in the world you are. And you're just smiling and having a good time. And they're not, being as defensive when you get to the house going, who are you? Why are you on my property? Or, whatever it may be. So, but the first thing that I do when I get there, make sure you guys have the lead. If you're door knocking, I recommend if you're with another agent in the car, just have one person go to the door. People tend to feel less threatened when there's one person at the house. And then if you do get into the house, to say, hey, you know what? One of my partners is with me. I'm just going to get and grab him out of the car if that's okay. And then go back and get him. If you're training an agent, have the agent roll down the window so that they can at least still listen to you so that they can practice their door script. Or if they're going to the house and you're training them, have them go to the door and then you can listen to them through the door script. And if not, if you need to, get out and help them do rebuttals if needed. But phone script the door knocking script would be this simple, right? So, I'd say, Jacob, how you doing today? My name is Shane Burns. I'm sitting here with the Senior Care Plan. Now, it looks like here you recently had seen one of our TV commercials or filled out this information in the mail about our final expense programs. Now, it looks like here, I tried to give you a call the other day, Jake, and for some reason, I couldn't get a hold of you. Is this number still correct?
Yeah, that's my number.
Okay, this is your correct number then, 814-327-8084. That's the right one?
Yeah, I probably just didn't recognize your number, and I don't.
Yeah, you're probably just like me. I don't answer a lot of calls that I don't know. But anyway, you filled this card out or you called this TV commercial and left the information. Anyway, they have you on my schedule for today. Should only take about a few minutes to go over everything and get the information you requested out.
Yeah, come on in.
All right. So I keep it very simple. And the reason why I've always put on here, okay, perfect, Jake. Well, you know what? They have you on my schedule for today. So it should only take a few minutes. Now think about this. They don't know who they are, right?
Yep.
And they just assume that you're on the schedule. It's like the Swans man pulling up for the delivery. Hey, you're on my schedule for the day. They're like, oh, okay. More than likely, 80% of the time, they'll just let you in because you're on their schedule. They're like, oh, okay. But if not, you're going to get a few different rebuttals. You're either going to get, I don't remember filling this out, or when you say you recently filled out one of these cards in the mail about our final expense life insurance programs. Now, what I do is when I go right into saying, look, I tried to give you a call the other day. Is this number still here correct? The reason I say that is, listen, I may not even have gave him a call, or maybe I did give him a call and I didn't get a hold of him, or maybe I'm just door knocking it for the first time and never got a hold of him ever. I'm still going to say the same thing because then that icebreaker is going to get them to look and get their brain off of who are you. I'm going to get them to show them to the lead that they're handwritten information. And you always want to say, you filled this out. Right? So it looks like you filled this out here just a little while ago, Jake. Now you put your number down as this. Is this still correct? And when they say, yeah, that's my number, I didn't get any phone calls, then you just immediately go in and say, listen, I apologize. You're probably just like me. You associate that you're the same as them. And it looks like here that maybe, I tried to give you a call a few times, didn't get a hold of you, but you probably don't answer your phone just like everybody else, but it's no problem. Anyway, you're on my schedule for today, and it should only take a few minutes to go over everything. If they say, I don't remember the card, jog their memory. Say, yeah, you would have got a little postcard in the mail just a few weeks ago. It was a few weeks ago, so you probably do forget filling it out, but this is your handwriting, right? All right, well, perfect. Well, since this is your handwriting, this is just a little while ago. This was about the final expense life insurance benefits that go over and above anything that they do offer you through the state. Now, you did fill out here that you did want additional information, and it's just my job to get it out to you. And like I said, it should only take about 10 or 15 minutes. So what I'm saying by saying it should only take about 10 or 15 minutes is basically this isn't going to take a lot of your time. Okay, I'm busy, you're busy. Let's just get this taken care of. You're on my schedule for today. When I added in this, you're on my schedule for today, my sit ratio went to like 80-90% from a door knock.
I believe that.
And here's another thing I used to do. One of my agents taught me this, one of my top producers. He used to take a blank schedule and sit down, and for all the door knocks that he had through the day, he would just take and write down all their names in a scheduled time, 9 to 10, 11 to 12, 1 to 2, whatever. And he would just write their names down on there and take the schedule up and show them the schedule and just say, yeah, it looks like they have you on my schedule for today.
Yep.
And
20 appointments a day.
you would just get right in the house. So whether you call, book appointments, door knock, none of it really matters. The only thing that matters is getting the appointment either booked or getting the sit down. Now, from the door, let's say this person, now you just went to this person randomly. They might not be maybe dressed the way that they want to have somebody in the home. They may be worried about their house being not tidy. They may have company over. Maybe they have company over that they don't want to discuss information in front of. Whatever it may be, you want to make sure that if you can't get in there, I'm persistent. Most people are going to try to rebuttal you at the door, but rebuttal them just like a phone conversation. That they say, now's not a good time, or can't you give me a call back next month? And I'd say, Ms. Jones, I'd love to give you a call next month, but I do got to get this out to you. It's already March 15th. My boss is down my back. I got to get this out there. It shouldn't take more than 10 or 15 minutes, depending on how many questions you have. But anyway, they have you on my schedule today. And then just try to go in. If you cannot get in there after you beat their rebuttals, then just say, listen, now's not a good time. My family's here. I don't want to talk about this in front of them. Just say, okay, listen, they have me out here only for the next, 2 days. I'm pretty jammed up. I don't have a lot of time because I have other clients that I got to go see, but I do have 2 spots left open. Book it just like a phone appointment. So now I'm just going to say, listen, are mornings or afternoons better for you? Mornings? Okay, well, let me take a look here. They got me jammed up. And I don't care if you have a blank schedule. Look at that schedule like it's completely jam-packed. Let them know you're busy and say, listen, stutter a little bit even. Just I could probably get you in here between 10 or 11. If you can book it for later that day, book it for later that day. So, if you can say, hey, are you available later this afternoon? I have an opening between 3 and 4. If they say no, then just say, okay, well, are mornings or afternoons better for you? Then go ahead and book morning. Okay, I have a 10 to 11 tomorrow morning. And if that doesn't work for you, the only other one I got is on Wednesday, between 11 and 12. Which one of those are going to work better for you? And then just set it just like a phone appointment. Okay, so that's what I would say to do on a door knock if you guys are only doing door knocks. If you're doing booked appointments and door knocking in between, still try to get in the house with the same method. The script doesn't change. You just might be booking more of a phone, a phone appointment from it. So that's what I would do there. So far we went over method 1, which is booking Saturday for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. And then we went over Thursday, booking for Friday, taking off the weekend, coming back on Monday, and then booking for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday and Thursday being cleanup days. Door knocking versus booking appointments. We're also going to go into a phone booking appointment script today as well here in the future. But for right now, just the part that we went over so far. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
All right. While you guys are out there door knocking, make sure that when you guys leave a house that you guys are creating the additional activity going to the neighbors, and especially if somebody's sitting out on a porch. We're going to be going over X in the lead here in a minute, but especially if somebody's sitting on a porch drinking a cup of coffee. Listen, I on purpose, when I go to my appointments, go to the wrong house on purpose. So if I'm walking up to the house and the address is 906, Washington Street, I'll go up. I know where the house is, right? But if there's a customer on the porch or something next door, or somebody, lives next door, I'll purposely go knock on the door next door and say, hey, Joe, how you doing? I'm here for our 9 a.m. appointment. And what do you think that person says? I'm not Joe. You know what I mean? Joe lives next door. I'm like, oh man, this ain't 906. Oh, that's my bad. I thought this was 906. Anyway, Joe's next door. Okay, so you know Joe then. All right, perfect. You know if he's home? Well, yeah, he should be. His car's out there. All right, well, perfect. Well, you know what? While I'm here, I was going to Joe. Joe got the information. Did you get the letter in the mail? Because we were actually, let me take a look here. I don't see that your name was down here, that you sent your information in about the new final expense programs. Did you get that letter sent back in that they sent out through the state regulated programs? And what are they going to say? What in the world are you talking about? What state regulated program? Oh, well, these were new state regulated programs that they had sent out for 2019. You didn't get the 2019 benefit information yet? Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to go over here and take care of Joe. Before I leave, I'm going to stop over here. What is your first name again? Tom. Tom, nice to meet you. I'm going to go over here and talk to Joe real quick. And when I get done, before I head out, I'm pretty busy. I don't got a lot of time, but I will at least stop by to get you that information. Is it okay if I stop over about an hour? Okay, perfect. You might go over there and be able to get right in and be able to set an appointment right there from it, or be able to get into a live presentation just by doing something as stupid as going to the wrong house on purpose. It works. It sounds crazy, but it really works. And then on the way out of somebody's house, if the neighbor's sitting on the porch, create a conversation. Just create a conversation. Just say, hey, man, it's nice out today, huh? You're just chilling, sitting on the porch. What kind of coffee are you drinking? Strong or weak? Say whatever you got to say. Create a conversation, but make it fun and be enthusiastic. Like I said, you're going to get all different types of rebuttals. Don't worry about it. You just need to book it and just like a rebuttal off just like off the phone script. Neighborhood prospecting, that's kind of what we were just talking about. Think about this, guys. We know how much leads cost, right? Anywhere from a fresh lead from $25 to $34 a lead. So why would you not go to somebody's neighbor that already knows them? If you're in the house already, ask the person you're sitting with, the client you're with, if it's okay if you use their name. Just say, Ms. Jones, is it okay if I stop by? You probably know everybody on the block. You've lived here 30 years. You said, who do you know that's out here I can maybe stop by and, talk to see if they got this information that you were so happy with. And then they'll tell you, oh, my neighbor across the street, that's Joe. My neighbor, Sally, she's been there 30 years with me. We both bought the house at the same time, whatever. Now you go over there and knock on the door. Hey, Sally, I was just over at Miss Jones' house. What a great lady. She actually recommended I stop over here. I was helping her out with some of her new insurance benefits, and she said that she had known you here for 30 years, and now you have something to talk about, right? Because you're like, hey, she said you guys bought the house at the same time. Well, anyway, they sent out that new benefit information for 2019. She wanted to make sure that you got it as well because she was so excited about it. Did you get that information? Create that additional activity. I'm telling you, if you guys will do that, imagine if you created 40 extra contacts for the week just by doing something as simple as that. How much is that worth to your business? You're getting a free lead that you're getting 100% profit from, and all you had to do was walk next door. So don't be afraid to go up there. It does feel a little weird at first because you're not used to talking to people that didn't send anything in, but once you get used to doing it, it's simple. So we don't do a lot of prospecting, right? Because 70% of what we do is going to come from our leads or additional activities from referrals or whatever it may be. But I would do at least 20 to 30% of your business doing nothing but prospecting clients that are just random out in the street. I always say if they're in arm's reach, you should be talking to everybody, right? Ask for introductions for people, even if you don't make a sale. So if you're sitting there at a client's home and you don't make a sale, don't just pack up and walk out of there. Number one, you should be collecting referrals, which I'm going to go over here in a little bit on how to collect referrals. And then you should also be saying, listen, Ms. Jones, I understand that maybe you don't have the need for it right now. Most members that we sit down and talk to are not as prepared as you. So I want to congratulate you, number one, for being prepared. Most people are not. But since you know how important this is, obviously, for you to get it taken care of and be prepared as you are, who else do you think maybe in your neighborhood you could recommend me to that that maybe I can stop by and make sure they're just as prepared as you, So don't be afraid to do that. And now when we talk about X in the house, we used to call it T in the house. So when you'd come out of the home, you go the left of you and the right of you because everybody knows their neighbors left and right. But if you'll do an X, everybody knows their neighbors left and right. They know their neighbors across the street because most of them are nosy, right? They always know what their neighbors are doing across the street. They could probably even tell you what days they kick the trash out because they bird watch them from the windows. So the neighbors beside them left and right, the two neighbors across the street on diagonals from them, and then the neighbor straight across the street. They might not know everybody in the block, but they're definitely going to know those people. Okay. And then also leave your information with every house you visit. One thing that I've always done, guys, is I've taken my business cards, and if you guys have ever seen the magnets you can get that are already cut for the size of your business card, I just take my Senior Life business card, stick it right to that magnet, because here's a fact, especially the generation that we work with, or I bet 90% of you that are on this webinar right now, how many of you have magnets on your refrigerator? And how many of you have 400 magnets on your refrigerator? From everywhere you went to a beach, everything that you've ever got in the mail that's a magnet, wouldn't you agree that you stick them all over your refrigerator? right? So what I always do, especially at the end of the presentation, is I'll take their referrals that they gave me and I'll walk up to their refrigerator on a bright yellow piece of paper and stick my magnetic business card right in the center of their freezer door. And I'm going to say, I'm going to put my business card up here, Miss Jones, because I'm going to be the most important person that you will ever probably need to talk to, or your family's going to need to talk to in the event that something happens or you have any questions, on your policy. You might lose my business card if I just hand it to you, but I'm going to stick it up here. I see you like magnets. I literally just get up, walk across the kitchen, and I put that magnet right up on their refrigerator. And I say, now I don't want you to ever throw this away. You ever need me, you're going to know how to give me a call. Or I put them up there with the referrals, and I take that business card up there and I put it on there. I say, now, Miss Jones, you referred me to 3 of your friends and your family members. I need you to do me a favor. I'm going to put these up here as a reminder, so the next time you get to the freezer here and get the milk out or whatever you need to get, you don't forget about me. I need you to call these 3 people, let them know that you referred them. I don't want to sound like a telemarketer when I give them a call, and I don't want them screaming at me. I've increased my booking ratio probably by about an extra 50 to 60% just by doing that, to make sure that person, when I call them, that person has already called them. Now, sometimes is it going to be like, oh yeah, Ms. Jones called me and she said this is about life insurance, I'm not interested. That happens, but you're still on the phone with them and there's still a trusting referral there, so you just need to rebuttal it back in there. So I would always X the house, from the house. One of my agents been here 2 years this week, never had created additional activity because he was a lead junkie. And we were on a conference call the other day with Sharnetta, and Sharnetta was going over the importance of, creating the additional activity off the houses and how she was writing, 10, 11,000 for the week in business. So he goes out there, first time he does it, gets 2 sales off of, creating additional activity from the houses beside. He posted on GroupMe the other day. If you guys seen it, I don't know if you guys are in that one for the March Madness, but he posted in there, hey guys, make sure you're T in the houses or X in the houses because it actually works, right? This stuff does work, but it only works if you do it, right? So I'm not going to waste my time going over something that doesn't work. I'm only going to talk to you and teach you the stuff that I know works, because listen, I've been doing this 11 years. In 11 years, I've already came across just about a lot of things that don't work. And the reason why I created some of these, and we've created these over time, is because we were tired of getting ourselves beat up in the field by getting rebuttaled, not getting into houses, not getting the additional activity that we need. I used to come home and say, okay, how can I overcome that? I'm not getting beat up like that next week in the field. So you need to make sure that you guys just pay attention to this, and like I said, get out there and create additional activity. Don't just rely on the leads. Remember, we talked about leads earlier. Leads just get you to an area. Leads are not a guaranteed sale. Leads are, however, a guaranteed person to talk to and a guaranteed area to be in. From there, if you do not collect additional activity and referrals and talk to other people, there might be a week that your lead pack just isn't as good, or there's not as many people you got a hold of this week because people are traveling, or who knows what. Don't base your business only off of the guaranteed leads. Go out there, create the additional activity. Next, referral collection. We've been talking about this now for a couple minutes. Referral collection. Collecting referrals is important of your business, and it's going to make your week so much easier. So for instance, calling leads, I used to call hard cards. Even though they're a lead and somebody called into a commercial, I still called it a hard card because I had to get a hold of them. I had to rebuttal them on the phone. I had to book the appointment. I had to get in the house, whatever it may be. I looked this up the one day and it said, Dale Carnegie said 91% of customers said that they would happily give referrals, but unfortunately only 11% of salespeople actually asked for them. Think about that number. How horrible is that? 91% of customers in a survey said they would give referrals easily, but only 11% actually asked for them. So if you're already in a home and you're already sitting with a customer, how much work does it really take to ask them for a referral? I just don't get why people wouldn't do it. But anyway, so collecting referrals is going to, help you out in a couple ways. Number one, it's going to help you book your appointments, each booking session, that much easier. So for instance, if you get 20 leads, you only have 20 people to call through. But what if you were able to collect, I don't know, an average of 3 to 5 referrals per sit? And when I say per sit, not per sale, per sit. So if you get a sit, whether it's a sale or a no sale, let's say you get into that house and you're only working your leads and you don't collect referrals. and we're only looking to close what, if you're good, 40 to 50% of the deals. If you're average, 20 to 30%, right? So 50 to 70% of these leads are not going to buy. How many times are you just going to pack up your stuff at the end of it and just eat that cost of the lead? Why would you? If you're already sitting with a client, let's say they don't buy. Throughout the presentation, I'm going to show you how different ways you can collect referrals. So at least at the end, if these people just didn't have a need or that you just couldn't get the sale, what if you got 6 referrals from these people? What if you got 6 referrals that ended up turning into $3,000 in additional business just off of a non-sale? How much would that change your week? So this is why I go over this so intense, is because it's that important. So one of the first things is the prescription discount card, guys. The prescription discount drug card is a discount card. It's not insurance, but what it does is it gives them discounts on their prescription drugs over and above anything. So if they have insurance and their insurance only covered $50 and their prescription was $80, they still owe $30. Well, this discount card is kind of like a Giant Eagle Advantage card or whatever it may be, where it's going to help cover the additional costs that they have. And this is free, and we can offer it to them at no cost. So it also gives them a big discount on their eyeglasses, which eyeglasses, I don't know if you guys know, are pretty expensive. So when you're going into presentation, I would add this into the presentation and make sure that you're explaining how this is going to benefit them as a client. And if you explain it properly, you can say, listen, I'm sure you guys know how many other people out there right now are paying a lot of money for their prescription drugs. And what is that person going to tell you? They're going to say, yeah, everybody's paying for, that's the biggest thing we pay for. I'm paying $1,000 a month or whatever it may be for their prescription drugs. So I would say, listen, this right here, I can't give this out to everybody, but because you are now part of the program, we can actually recommend that at least 5 people of your closest friends or family members can get this information and get these discounts just for you referring them. So who's the first person and we want to get one of these discounts cards, to, so you can start helping them out. And then you just start writing them down, right? Put your head down, put your pen out on the paper and start writing them down. What if you only get, I don't know, let's say you only get 2 people, right? Well, that's 2 more people you can give a call to and have a reason to sit with them, okay? Next, let's say you're going to do, let's see, beneficiaries. Let's say you're going to have a sale. If you got a sale, there's no reason in every single sit you shouldn't have 2 beneficiaries to call. So when I sell you, and the first question I ask you is, well, because this is for your final expense, Ms. Jones, who's this first beneficiary going to be? Who's the one to be claiming this information for you? And they say, my daughter. Okay, what's your daughter's first name? All right, last name, and what's the best contact number for her? They give you that number easily. It's a beneficiary. Write that name down, write that number down, or if you're punching it into your Slice app, take a screenshot of it as you do it, okay? So make sure you're writing this information down, beneficiaries first and foremost, and at the end of the presentation, say, Ms. Jones, I want to congratulate you on getting this taken care of today for your daughter and your son. This is huge. A lot of people don't have this taken care of, but I'm glad you thought of your kids and make sure this is done. Now, what I'm going to do is I need you to call your son and your daughter, and I need you to let them know that you're going to be, they're going to be getting a phone call from me. I want to make sure I drop off some information since they're the ones that are going to be handling this stuff. I want to make sure that they understand exactly what you have and exactly how the claim process works. So anything ever happens to you, they know that they have the coverage and that they know how to claim it. Okay. So think about this. If you give a beneficiary a call, right, and you call them and say, hey, Joe, how's it going? I was just sitting down with your mother, Sally. What a wonderful lady. She wanted me to give you a call and let you know that she got life insurance and you're taken care of. But I did promise her that I would get out to you and stop by and drop off some of this information so you knew what it was. She did put you down as the main beneficiary. So you must be one of her favorite sons, right? So I want to make sure I get out there. I told her I was pretty busy and I don't have a lot of time, but I promised her while I was in the area I would get this out to you. So what time would be good for me to stop over and get this information out? You can roll a referral right from there, right from the beneficiary. Okay. Let's see. All right. Next one. Senior Life brochure. Okay. The Senior Life brochure is a good one to take in the house with you. It tells you everything about the company. It tells you all about the whole life products and how they never go up and never cancel. But at the end of it, the Senior Life brochure is going to be a final wish planner in the back. The final wish planner is going to be there. You know, my first thing that I'm going to say when we get into the presentation here later is going to be, you know, most people don't have their will set up, right? So I say, Ms. Jones, do you have your will set up? No. Well, we know that 90% of our clients don't have their will set up or have part of it set up and never, you know, not all of it completed. So this final wish planner is going to be here for you to put down all your information. I go right through the book and show them you can put all your personal information in here, your social security number, your bank account information, who do you want notified, do you want a burial or cremation, you know, whatever it may be. You're going to put that all right down in the final wish brochure. So once I explain to them how it's going to keep them organized so their family has all the information that they're going to need due to the event that they die, I say, listen, one of the most important things, you see most families have chaos at the time of somebody passed away. Most families haven't even been together since the last time somebody passed away. So when they get there, everybody's arguing and fighting and nobody knows what's going on or if they have life insurance, don't. So we want to make sure that we get as many of these brochures and final wish planners out to as many people in your community as possible. So out of, you know, if you could give out any of these, you know, who would be the first person you want to get this to help them get organized? And boom, maybe you only get one from that. Maybe you got a sale, you got 2 beneficiaries, you got 1 Senior Life brochure referral, and you got 1 prescription discount card. We're already at 4 referrals, and it's not even the whole way through the presentation yet, okay? The next one is our gift card program. I usually stop at a gas station, a 7-Eleven, a Sheetz, depending on where you're at. They have a carousel of gift cards. The gift cards don't have any money loaded on them. So I usually go to the manager so they don't think I'm stealing anything. I go to the manager and ask them, you know what, I'm going to do a competition this week. I want to go ahead and grab a couple of these and I'm going to come back and, you know, either call in the hotline number or come in and load them. But I just need to take a couple of these with me. Is that okay? They say yes. I just go up there and take them. They're blank cards. And I take them gift cards in with me and show them, look, this week we're doing a referral program. Anybody that you refer to the program, if they take advantage of any part of the program, we're going to get and give you a $25 gift card. You know, and I tell them, listen, we have one lady who gives us, you know, some people to talk to, and she earns about $100 to $200 a week just in referring people. So, you know, we want to make sure that, you know, these people know how the gift cards work and that you send out the gift cards once each month after everybody, you know, has referred them in. I said, listen, you can win as much money as you want. The more people you refer into the program, the more chances you have to win. So who's the first person you want to go ahead and put down here and try to win some money? And that's it. And I go into the gift card program. The next part of the program is for the next part of referral collection is going to be rolling referrals. What do I mean by rolling referrals? So rolling referrals, you're going to be able to go into home once you have all the referrals you wrote down. Let's say you have 5 referrals there. And I'd say, listen, Ms. Jones, I need you to call these people again so they don't think I'm some crazy telemarketer. Now, let me ask you a question. Out of this list right here, so I can show you what to say to them, who do you talk to the most on here? And if they say, well, I usually talk to my son every day. I say, well, have you talked to your son yet today? No, I haven't talked to him yet today. I said, well, let me do you a favor. Give him a call real quick. Explain to him that you referred him into the program, and I'll kind of help you out with this first one. So when they call and they get their son on the phone and they're starting to stutter around, you know, when people start stuttering because they don't know what to say, I just say, here, let me get the phone. I'll tell them. And they say, here, just talk to him. He's my insurance man. They hand him over the phone. I say, hey, Joe, hey, how's it going? I'm sitting down here with your mom. What a wonderful lady. Anyway, she had actually referred you into a couple different things, one being a prescription discount card that she was able to give you just for being part of the program. Looks like here she put you down as a beneficiary, so you must be one of her favorite kids. But anyway, I promised her I would get this information out to you. I don't have a lot of time, but I will be over here later this afternoon. What time would work for you that I could drop this stuff off? If you could do that from the house, you're rolling yourself. They might say, well, I'm home right now. You can come on over right now. I say, okay, perfect. Listen, guys, even if I have an appointment that I'm on my way to, if I roll somebody live right from the house, right from a sale, I'm going directly to that house. You can't get a hotter lead than a lead that you just talked to on the phone that already has trust built up from their mother or their grandmother or their grandfather. I mean, if grandma tells them to come over, they're good, right? Because you just have to trust that. So definitely, you know, think about that when you guys are getting your referrals at the end. Don't be afraid to get on there. That's how I would double up people in the field every week. If me and you was in a battle and we was for $5,000 in ALP for the week, I will double you up and write 10 and not even have to get another lead. I will get all my referrals, write them all down, and I will double you up in production because I'm going to go get way more sits than you will for the day. I'll have a ton more extra referrals to call my next booking section, and you'll still be trying to figure out why just your leads don't answer. So rolling referrals is key. The next one, legacy assurance. Legacy assurance, we can give our clients up to $100 off their legacy packages, which I'm going to go over legacy here in a little bit as well. But legacy, let's say they get a casket for $1,500. For every referral they give is $25 off of their merchandise. So when they pass away, they'll take $100 off that casket. Now that casket's only $1,400. So they can only do 4. And when you write up the policy, it'll ask how many that they referred. So that's just another way to collect referrals. Catch-up program. Again, let the client know that a lot of people in their neighborhood had sent in that we sent the information to. For some reason, we have a hard time getting a hold of them, or we don't think that a lot of them didn't send it in. Maybe they didn't know what it was about. So, I would say, you said you lived here for how long? 30 years? Okay, well, you probably know everybody on the block. Who are some people that you could refer me to that I could maybe stop and give them a knock on the door before I head out of town here and see, I can double check and cross-reference and see if they had sent this information in. So just another way to collect, a lot of referrals. So that's pretty much the basis. There's a million other ways to collect referrals. These are just some of the top ones that I found that worked. One of the new ones that I'm working on right now that I talked to the last class on, Carl, yes, we'll be able to get a copy of these slides at the end of the presentation. I'll be setting up a Dropbox with a lot of the information that we go over. And yes, I understand it is a lot to write down. Either that or you guys just got to write faster. That's all. No, I'll get you guys. I'll get you guys a copy of all this stuff. But I do want you to write down everything you can, because when you write down information, it just seems like sometimes it burns it into your brain a little bit better. So some of the most important things I would definitely still write down. But yes, to answer your question, Carl, I will get this sent out to you. The next referral thing that I was working on the last class that we were thinking of, me and Rob Son, when we were down in Florida 2 weeks ago, came up with a unique way to collect referrals. And remember being a kid, and when you were in class, you get that little mystery bag of candy. It had a whole bunch of little things in it, maybe a pencil, an eraser, maybe a couple things of chocolate. You just didn't know what was in the mystery bag. Well, what if we would take like a brown paper sandwich bag, staple our business card to the front of it, and fill it with all these little different ways of collecting referrals? The prescription discount card, the senior life brochure, the couple gift cards, or maybe even some lottery tickets, right? People love lottery tickets. What if you got a $1 lottery ticket? You know how many people love to scratch off a $1 lottery ticket? I know I do. And most of our market, they love lottery tickets. So imagine if you could set up some of this stuff in a nice little bag. It would be very, very inexpensive, right? You can get a pack of sandwich bags for like $5 for 100 or something. So we're talking about maybe 5 cents a bag or 50, who knows? And then by the time and then what about the pill bottles we talked about earlier on the Senior Life store? You could take those pill bottles, they're 50 cents, 5 cents a bag, 50 cents for a pill bottle, and $1 lottery ticket. We're at $1.55 a sit or a sale. And what if for $1.55, you can say, listen, guys, for as many referrals you get today, you're going to get all these different items, and you can leave them that little gift bag at the end of it to collect referrals. So how many referrals do you think it would take to get your money back on your $1.55 that you spent each sit? And let's just say you get 15 sits a week. How much money are you really spending for a week? Probably less than one lead, right? $20, right? And a little bit of time and a staple to put out there. How cool would that be to go in there and, do something a little bit different than everybody else? I think it would work. I think it's a good idea. I asked the last training class to do me a favor this week when you guys are on your field appointments. If anybody will try this out and do it, if you could post pictures up of you and the client as you give them their bag of stuff, I would love to see how many referrals you collect for the week. I would love to see if it works. So any questions so far is on referral collection? All All right. One other thing on referral collection, I would make sure you have a good way of writing your referrals down. I always used to take the referral cards that I said I used to order from home office. They're about the size of an envelope, regular size envelope. They have 3 spots on them for collecting referrals. What I did was I'd take them as I would order them in. Let's say you have 50 of them. I would take 25 at a time, or however many would be a decent size stack, and I would take them to Staples, and I would have them bound with a binding on the end so you could flip through them and I could keep them in areas that I was working. One reason I like to keep organized, make sure I have referrals, because maybe I don't get a hold of everybody, but 2 weeks from now I get leads back in that area and I can pick up that pack of referrals again and start calling through. Another thing on referrals, make sure you guys write down the name of the client, of who referred them, and then also who that person is to them. So if you write down Joe, okay, who's Joe? Their best friend, their niece, their whatever, right? Make sure you write them down. The other thing, make sure you write down their nicknames, right? So if their name is Joseph, but he hates the name Joe, you don't want to call him Joe. But maybe his name is Skippy. So if you call him on the phone and say, hey, is this Skippy? What is that immediately going to do for that client that you're calling? Trust is immediately built. They're going to be like, oh, this guy knows my name, my nickname's Skippy. They must know who I am. Who's this? Right? Hey, this is Shane. I was giving you a call. Let's say I was sitting with your sister. She told me your nickname was Skippy. Listen, I've had all different names. One of the most recent ones I had, it was real weird, was Jackass. And they told him, when I called the guy and said, hey, is this Jackass? He started laughing and he said, oh, Christina must have sent you to me. I said, yeah, how'd you know it was Christina? He said, man, she's been calling me that since we was in grade school. I still can't get away from it. You know how nice of an icebreaker that is when you're on the phone? I mean, it's huge, so make sure you guys write down the information, make sure you get the client's name, make sure you get the client's phone number written on the card. So if you ever have to call the client back, because here's one thing I tell the client at the end of the presentation, just to give them a little bit of a joke. I said, Ms. Jones, I need you to give these people a call for me, and I need you to promise me you're going to call them, because I hate feeling like a telemarketer and I hate being hung up on. So I'm going to make you a deal. For everybody you recommend today, I'm going to give you a gift card for anybody that takes advantage of the program, but I need you to make me a deal. Anybody, if I call any of these people on the list and then they start screaming at me and hanging up on me, I'm going to give you a call back and let you know that they're screaming at me, and then you owe me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So next time I'm in the area, I'm going to stop and get that peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Is that fair? And it sounds funny, but it breaks the ice a little bit, and it gets them laughing at the end. And you want to make sure that they call these people, because I'm telling you, if they will call these people, the people you do call, they'll be like, oh, yeah, my sister called me, said she loved it, you're a great guy, blah, 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 blah. When can you come over? I was actually thinking about getting this myself. It's an easy icebreaker. So, guys, I want to take a break a minute here and go over a couple things. I want you guys to be interactive here, because there might be things that I forget to talk about that you guys might jog my memory, and it may be beneficial for everybody. So let's do a quick, 4 or 5 minute open call just to go over some different things, or maybe if you have a way that you collect the referrals that maybe you feel that would help, it might help somebody else as well. So who's got some questions out there?
Yes, Carl, I have a question. All right. Well, we're dealing with mostly the senior market, and that's where most of our leads are going to come from initially. And now you're getting referrals for people that are, say, 25, 30, 40 years old. In this program that we have here, do we actually have? I didn't see the presentation yet, so I'm just sort of looking. What do we have that actually is good for them in this program?
Good question. We're going to go over that too when we go over the underwriting products, but I'll answer a little bit of it now. So yes, we do have products that go from 0 to 85. So we do have products all the way down to 0 that we can sell. And especially for somebody that's younger, not only can we sell them their whole life insurance, but we can also couple it with some term. We do have 20-year return of premium term, to where, let's say you got a 25-year-old, you give him, he's young enough, you give him $10,000, $15,000 in whole life and an extra $30,000 in 20-year return of premium term, where they're getting, $30,000 in coverage for probably almost the same they're paying for their 10 or 15 for their whole life. that's going to be good for an extra 20 years. So if they die young, they're going to be getting 40 or 50,000 paid out to them. If they outlive it, they're getting 100% of their money back, or 98% of their money back on the 20th year, depending on how they pay their premiums. If they pay their premiums for the year, then they'll get it 100% back. If they pay it monthly, they'll get 98%. But it's a win-win, right? You're 25 years old. You're locking in your whole life rate at the youngest age possible. You're getting covered for a bigger expense. So in case you pass away early, your spouse or children have enough money to take care of any additional expenses, mortgage, whatever it may be. And it's a win-win because it's no risk to you. If you live through the 20 years, you're getting 98% of your money back. So if you put in $5,000 over that time, they're paying you back almost $5,000. You know what I'm saying? So it's not only do we have a senior market that we can help out, but what is it worth to somebody that's 25 with the legacy program that we're going to go over here in a little bit, that's going to lock their casket in $1,500 for the rest of their life, you know?
Right.
And this is Carl, right? So Carl, so imagine if you could go back to 1955 or 60, right, and lock in the price of a casket. How much would a casket be back then?
I have no clue.
Not 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000, right? Not 6,000. 6,000. Yeah, 1955, Carl. I was buying a pink Cadillac with fins on it for $5,000. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, now you get a pine box with some stainless steel emblems on it, right? So that's just the reality of inflation. So not only can we lock their price in at the youngest age possible, we're going to lock in their funeral pricing forever, inflation proof, and be able to lock them in with some type of term to cover them for a bigger expense. So that, you know what I mean? We can cover pretty much anybody from 0 to 85. 0 to 85.
Yeah, that's you know, 'cause, you know, I haven't really seen any of the products yet, or with the, you know, with the prices and the actual, you know, options that we give people. So I guess that question was a little bit, you know, forward. I mean, you know, before
No, that's
I really
good.
knew.
It's a good question. Like I said, we're going to be going over that, though, just so you know. Today, we're going to be going over underwriting. We're going to be going over phone booking. We're going to be going over presentations. And that's what I said, guys. When we're able to go over this like this on a webinar, I know, Lottie, I don't care if you've been in this business. I heard the one lady saying she's been in this business since 1960 something, right? Well, guess what? Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you've been in this business 50 years or only 5 months, or you just got your insurance license this week. You're going to learn valuable information on here that maybe you just never stumbled across. You know, you're going to learn a way to collect a referral that you just never thought of. And it might be that one thing that you've already have never done in the last 30 years that you do now that might change your business around. So there's no question it doesn't matter. And like I said, we're going to go over a lot of this information today, and hopefully you guys, like I said, get a lot out of it. So, but referral collecting is one of the biggest keys, you know, to it. And like I said, especially if you got somebody with a big family, you might get their son, their daughter, their grandchildren. I mean, like I said, what if you're collecting an extra 60 leads for free per week? What could that do to your business? I'm telling you, it makes your booking easy because you're booking your leads, and any gaps you have, you can be filling referrals in. It makes your life easy because your sales, your closing ratio is going to go up. How many agree on here that your closing ratio is higher on a referral that their grandmother just recommended them to than a lead, right? What's the average lead close? Average 30 to 40%, 30, you know, being low, right? I would say, can anyone guess what the average closing ratio is on a referral collected?
It'd have to be double, I would think.
I would say 60 to 70%. So, I mean, here's my thing. Leads are easy to buy and they're easy to work because they have intent, but which one's easier to close? 60 to 70%, right? Referrals. So if it were me, I focused more on how many referrals could I collect a week than how much business did I write a week, right? Because if I focused on my referral collection, wouldn't you guys agree that if you get 20 leads, wouldn't you agree, even if you were the worst agent to the best agent, there's going to be sales in that pack somewhere? So you know you're going to get guaranteed results. But if I focus more of my attention on collecting referrals, which to me matters more, I'm going to collect more referrals, which is going to give me more activity and a higher closing ratio. So if I can get more activity and a higher closing ratio, Would you guys agree that I'm going to write more business than the average agent? And would you agree that I probably am going to do it in less time than the average agent? While agent A goes out there and struggles for 5 or 6 days straight, beating his head against the wall and being a lead junkie only, I'll be done by Wednesday and hanging out at the beach, but for the weekend. You know what I mean? I mean, let's just be honest. It makes my life that much easier, and I actually enjoy what I'm doing. And when you go to referrals, how nice is it to go to one house, go to the brother's house, go to the cousin's house, and everybody's like, oh, that Sally, she's a crazy. That's our crazy sister. I can't believe you even went over there and made it out of her house. You know what I'm saying? So it makes your job fun. And if you guys are in this business, like I said, you should want to make your job fun. This shouldn't be a stress. You shouldn't have to fight for clients for the week. This should be a breeze. And if you'll follow this advice, I'm telling you, it'll just make your life easy. So any other questions or anything you guys can add to the referral collection side?
Yeah, this is Janice. I had a question. What
Yep.
about Facebook advertising or marketing or anything that on social media? Is that allowed?
Yes, anything you guys are going to do on your own marketing, you can do. You just have to design it, figure out what exactly you're going to do, and then we have a section that we can send it over to for our marketing compliance department, because we have a whole legal team that's going to help you make sure that you don't put something on there that's going to get you in any type of lawsuit or trouble or misrepresentation or anything like that. So if you guys do have something basic, you guys can put it on there. Like if it's just a basic, hey guys, I'm a life insurance agent now and I'm helping folks out here in the Altoona, Pennsylvania area, you can do that. But I'm saying if you're going to put any marketing material out there or any sponsored posts through Facebook or anything, let's send it over to the marketing compliance department and get them to approve it. Once they stamp their approval to it, then we can go ahead and start posting it. But yeah, remember, you're your own business, so any additional activity you want to do, we even have agents that take and get flyers approved with pull tabs and print flyers out. So when they go into these gated communities and the homes that have the doors locked, security locked from the gate, they put their flyers up on their pegboard downstairs and their information, and even leave brochures behind for people to call them. You know, so listen, anything you can do to create additional activity is going to help you. What I'm saying is if you don't do additional activity, you're going to make your life a lot harder, because you're going to be working 3 times as hard as I am. I'm out golfing and you're in there sweating trying to door knock for 6 days straight. You know what I'm saying? It's going to make your life a lot easier. So good question though. Yes, you can do Facebook marketing. You can pass out flyers. You can put door hangers up. You know, whatever you guys got to do, you just got to do it. If you're going to do it yourself and you're going to create it, please make sure you send it through marketing compliance so you don't get in trouble for putting something out there, or don't get yourself jammed up in any type of lawsuit or something. What else? Anything else? All right, we're going to move on. Here's just my average ratios that I've seen, and everybody's going to have a different one. So this is just an example. So don't base your business off of this. This is just what I've always based mine off of, is your ratios for the week. Now, if you'll start to track your own business and see how many sits you get and how many sales you get and how much your average close is and stuff like that, you can track it on your own and get a little bit more of a better example. But this one, I would always say I always shot to get about 18 appointments booked. So if you guys are booking for 2 days at a time, 18 appointments is going to be 12 for the first 2 days and 6 for the third day. Remember, I was telling you guys you need 3 full field days no matter what to get to an average business. And if you're going to do more than that and you're going to do 4, then I would be trying to get 4 full days booked, which is going to be about 24 appointments. So, but if you're booking 3 full days, 18 appointments, you should get about an average of a 60% show, and minimum, you should be doing about a 40% close if you're working leads. Okay. If you're not getting those numbers, then you want to check your presentation. You want to make sure that you're doing everything, which we're going to go over later, but see why you're not closing as much, and your closes might be down because your show ratio ain't high. So if your show ratio isn't that high, then we might need to work on your phone presentation to make sure that you're solidifying, which we're going to go over solidification when we get to the phone script. Okay. So average sale, I would say, is about $50 a month, which is going to be about $600 an annual premium. So the average agent, like I said, should be writing about $2,500 a week. If you're not writing 2,500 a week, there's a problem. I mean, 2,500, you should write within your first 2 days if you book them right, you know. And I always shot to do 1,000 a day minimum 1,000 a day in the field. So if I work 2 full days, I should write about 2,000 average. And then if I need to clean up an extra 500 on Wednesday and Thursday, then I would. But 2,500 should be your minimum commitment for the week. But this is how you're going to do it. And I would guarantee to yourself to get 18 booked appointments. All right. Next, we're going to get into underwriting. Okay. Underwriting is going to be important for you guys. I know the Slice application is huge because it basically walks you through. It's going to walk you through the underwriting, and it's going to do a lot of the underwriting for you. But there are going to be some little tips and tricks here that I'm going to show you that's going to help you save yourself from some hiccups that's going to go through the underwriting process. So one of the first things is we're going to go over some of the different plans. This is going to answer some of your questions, Carl, different type of plans we have, and also what to write. So if you do have a notepad, I am going to send this out to you, and all this type of information right here just to answer you guys' questions. A lot of this information that we just went over, other than referrals and some of the different tips and tricks, are going to be in your agent manual. But I'm going to go over the products right now. So one of the first whole life plans that we offer is what's called an Ultimate Preferred. Ultimate Preferred, guys, you're probably really only going to write one of these policies every so often. It's not going to be that popular of a product. This policy is only needed to be written if, I always say, if it's your grandmother and you want to give her a good deal, or if you have a fully underwritten policy you're trying to compete up against. So let's say you go to a client that could go and they're healthy enough, they're not on any major medications in the past 10 years, healthier than a horse, and he could go to State Farm or Erie, fully underwritten, where they're doing a mouth swab, blood test, urine test, hair sample, and they're good enough that they could get a fully underwritten policy. Okay. If that's the case, then we can do Ultimate Preferred from 0 to 85, and as long as they haven't smoked or had any major illnesses in the past 10 years. Okay. We go up to $30,000 in coverage, but it is a lot lower commission amount. Okay. Because the company's going to take a huge risk by giving somebody, you know what I mean, without doing a MIB report and doing a whole bunch of other things, requesting a lot of records. They're going to give them a huge discount on a price so we can compete with a fully underwritten policy. And it'll definitely compete. And there's not too many other companies out there. I was a brokerage at one time and had worked with over 15 to 20 different maiden companies. And there's not a company out there that I found that can compete with our Ultimate Preferred whole life. So yes, it's going to be a lot lower commission, which we're going to go over commission schedule at the end and give an example so you guys know that each one of these products are going to have a different commission rate. Some products are going to have whatever your top contract level is, whether it be 60%, 70%, whatever it is your commission level is. But the Ultimate Preferred is going to be a lot lower. Okay. So the reason why I want to go over this so in depth is, let's just say you went through the Slice app, which we're going to go over here in a minute as well, and you punch in that they're a non-tobacco user and they're on no medications. Well, when you go through there, it's going to give you a list in your Slice app of every policy that we offer, and you have to pick out which one, and Ultimate's the first one. So if you just, have 5 clients in a row that are all non-smokers and haven't had any medicines in the past 10 years, and you just click Ultimate Preferred and offer every single one of them Ultimate Preferred, you're going to, you make $80 or something on a commission where you could have been making $300 or $400. And if you write Super Preferred, you're still going to give the client just as good a deal. It's maybe only $4 or $5 difference in monthly premium. But the only time I would use Ultimate Preferred is if you're trying to do a rate quote comparison, or you're trying to beat a policy. And let's say there's a replacement that you need to do, because there's sometimes we do have to do a replacement. Let's say somebody has 10,000 they bought 2 or 3 years ago, and it was through a Bankers Life or some other company, and we can offer them more coverage for even less than what they're spending because nobody else has the Ultimate Preferred rates. Then that's when I would use it, because if not, you're not going to get it, right? So does that make sense to everybody? The only time to use Ultimate Preferred is in that window of a client. So please make sure that you understand that, because if not, you're going to lose a lot of money in commissions by putting them on the wrong plan. Okay. Next is super preferred. Okay. This one here will be pretty popular for people that, are 0 to 85, but have not smoked in the past 5 years. Okay. And it still goes up to 30,000. Now, they only do checking account only. They have to have a checking account. It cannot be through a savings. And what we're looking for here, guys, is one medication per condition. So one medication per condition. If they have high blood pressure, fine. If they just have cholesterol, fine. But if they're on 5 high blood pressure medicines, it's going to knock them down to preferred or even standard, because, that means that it's not under control. Okay, so super preferred, you still get your full commission. So if you're on a 60, 70%, whatever your commission level is, you're going to start out with the highest level commission on super preferred. Okay, super preferred, again, they're looking back 10 years in health, 5 years in nicotine. So 10 years in health, 5 years of nicotine. Ultimate preferred is 10 years in health as well. Okay. Preferred. This is the category that most companies have, is preferred and standard. Preferred and standard, guys, just so you understand, is basically your non-smoker being preferred and standard being a smoker. These are from 0 to 85 as well. So all of our 4 top plans are 0 to 85, but these ones only go up to 20,000. Now, just remember, we can do up to 50,000 total in the company, but depending on what level they qualify, if they're only preferred, they can only get 20,000 of whole life, but you can also add on an additional 30 of term if need be. Okay. Anything over 20,000, more than likely there's going to be, script check, MIB, whatever it may be, so that way they can at least check out and make sure that they're healthy enough to get the plan. But let's just say preferred is what most companies have as a non-tobacco user, or tobacco being standard. So 0 to 85, no tobacco in the past 12 months, goes up to 20,000. So when we get into the presentation, I'm going to teach you guys that one of the first questions I ask them is, during qualifications, are you a smoker or non-smoker? Because if that person says, no, I'm a non-smoker, then mentally I'm going to start them at preferred in my head, because I know that most people are not going to qualify for super preferred. So I'm going to start underwriting them at preferred. But if they say, no, Shane, I smoke. All right, well, you know what? I know mentally they're starting at standard, because non-smoking policies are everything from preferred and above. Preferred, super preferred, and ultimate preferred are all non-smoking. So in the beginning, if I say, okay, are you a smoker or non-smoker? I smoke. Okay, well, you're standard in my head already. So preferred is going to look back in their health 5 years. So super preferred and ultimate is looking back in their health 10 years. Preferred is going to look back in their health and medications 5 years. Standard is going to look back 2. So the easiest way to remember this is 10-5-2. If you could always remember that. 10-5-2. 10 being the best plans we have, 5 being the middle, right? And then 2 years in standard. So if that person says, I'm a non-smoker, I'm going to say, okay, Carl, in the past 5 years, how's your health been? Any medications, any health problems? If they say in the past 2 years, right, on standard. So if they say I'm a smoker, I'd say, okay, not a problem. In the past 2 years, how's your health been? So it's 10-5-2. 10 years super, preferred is 5 years, and standard is 2. Why am I going over this if Slice already does it? Okay. The reason that I'm going over this is Slice might ask, do you currently have any health problems? Or medication, it might say, are you currently on any medications? Well, what if the person says, no, I don't take any medication? Well, what if 5 years ago they took, I don't know, Plavix for a heart, that they had a heart attack 10 years ago, but they haven't been on the medicine now for the past 4 years? Well, that's going to matter. So as soon as they say smoker or non-smoker, I'm going to start underwriting them depending on how far back their medicines and things, the history is going to need to go. So 10-5-2. Try to burn that into your brain. Any questions so far on the whole life policies? Guys, now's the time to ask. If you do got a question, please speak up now because, like I said, I'll be able to help you out in on the training.
Yeah. All right. I guess I misunderstood a little bit.
That's
the
okay.
10.5.2, that is just for if they smoke. Is that what you're doing, or the 10
No.
is with the super preferred? Preferred is 5 and standard is 2. I didn't.
Yeah, no, you got it. You got it. It's 10.5.2. 10 is super preferred. So if they're super preferred, you're going to rate quote them for super preferred. You need to be asking them, Carl, in the past 10 years, how's your health been? Right? But most people are not going to qualify super preferred because most of our clientele base, would you say, has been on probably some major medications in the past 10 years, right? So you'll know the person that's going to be super. By the time I say, are you a smoker or non-smoker? So if you can look there, you see where it says, you guys can still see my screen pretty good, right? Where it says preferred and the standard.
Yes.
Okay. So if it's preferred and standard and I say, Carl, are you a smoker or non-smoker? And you say non, I'm going to start mentally preparing to ask questions based upon preferred, because from preferred and up are non-smoking policies. From standard and down are smoker. Okay. So if I say, are you a non-smoker? And you say, I don't smoke. Okay. How's your health been in the past 5 years? Because preferred is going to, when you look at the apps, if you go into our website and pull up the apps and look at the medical questions, if you're qualifying on preferred, it's going to say, in the past 5 years, have you been diagnosed, treated, or received medication for the following: heart attack, stroke, seizures. If you're qualifying them standard, it's going to ask the exact same question. The only difference is going to be, in the past 2 years, have you been treated, you know what I mean, diagnosed, or received medication for the following? So the reason I ask him, which when we get into the presentation, it's going to make a lot more sense because I'm going to show you how to navigate this. But when I say, are you a smoker or non-smoker? If you said smoker, I know that you automatically don't qualify for preferred and above, right? Because they're only non-smoking. So if standard looks back 2 years, I'm going to immediately say, well, how's your health been in the past 2 years, Carl? Right? Because I only need to know your health in the past 2 years because you're not going to qualify preferred or above anybody because you're a smoker. See what I'm saying? So 10.5.2 is exactly what you said. If you're qualifying them super, you need to ask them 10 years medical and medication. 5 year is preferred. 2 year is standard. If they've been on something major in the past 2 years, they're going to drop down to modified, which we're going to go over next. So if I say, well, how's your health been in the past 2 years, Carl? And you say, well, not good. They got me on all this heart medicine. Oh, really? You take like what, Plavix or something? Yeah, I take Plavix. Okay, well, mentally, I know that they just dropped out of standard because, yeah, they smoked. We started at standard, right? But it dropped them down to modified. You see what I'm saying?
But
how you kind of navigate that?
Well, if they're a non-smoker and you say within the last 5 years, and they say back down to modified too, or would they?
Well, no, it all depends. It all depends. So imagine if I say, okay, let's do an example. Let's role play here for everybody to hear. So if I say, okay, Carl, let me ask you a question. How's your health been? Or are you a smoker or non-smoker?
I'm a non-smoker.
Non-smoker. Okay, great. In the past 5 years, how's your health been?
I've been great.
Right. Been great. Okay, so you sound like a pretty healthy young man. Any medications you've been on in the last 5 years?
Blood thinner.
Blood thinner. Okay. Are you still currently on that, or are you just on it in the last 5 years?
I'm currently on it.
Okay, so if they're currently on it, obviously that's within the past 2 years, so it's going to knock them out of standard. But let's just say you said, no, I had a surgery back in 2015, and I had to get a little surgery on my knee done, and they gave me a blood thinner for the week. You know what I mean? Or I had a heart attack 5 years ago, I had a stent put in, and they had me on medication for the first week, but after that, I haven't had to been on it. So the question, it says, have you in the last 5 years had a medical diagnosis? Yeah, you had a heart attack, right? But I know that knocks you out of preferred, so we're down to standard. See what I'm saying? Because you have had a treatment diagnosis. There's 3 things they look for. Have you been diagnosed? Have you been treated? Or have you received a medical advice or prescription medication for the following? You see how the question reads, which we'll go into when we get to the apps. But when you get to that part, they're basically going to need to know, okay, well, that was 5 years ago. So you're looking in your head going, okay, you got a heart attack 5 years ago. And when's the last time you were taking that blood thinner? Well, I haven't taken it since 2016. Okay, so you haven't been on the blood thinner for the last 4 years. Nope. Okay, great. Remember, to keep them in standard, the standard question is saying what? In the past 2 years, have you been receiving medical advice or diagnosed with a problem or taking medicine? No. He had a heart attack 5 years ago, and the medicine he's been off of for the last 4 years. So he still qualifies standard because he's still in the past 2 years still good.
Mhm.
If you would have said, yes, I'm currently on it, well, that's current. That means you've been on it in the past 2 years. You don't qualify for standard either. So that's why I'm saying always remember 10, 5, 2. Because as soon as they say, yes, I was on it, how long ago? Because if it was in the past 2 years, you don't qualify standard. If it was in the past 5, you don't qualify preferred, but you'll still qualify standard. Or if they said, no, I had a heart attack 10 years ago. Were you on any medicine? Nope. They put a stent in. I was good to go. Well, hell, you're good to go for preferred, Carl. See what I'm saying? So
yes,
that's
okay,
why.
but this is where I guess now it says up here in super preferred, I've only been taking one medication. It wasn't for a heart attack, but one medication per condition accepted. Okay, so
Right.
So how did that drop me down?
Because no, you remember I always start at preferred because most people are not going to qualify for super. So I'll know if you're super. So let's say I'm going over preferred, and you're like, hey, I take a high blood pressure medicine, I take medicine for my cholesterol, simvastatin, and I take a pill for my thyroid. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Left-hand side of the refrigerator.
I do have a question. This is Don Hart.
Yep. Hang
Let's
on
say
1 second.
Sure.
Can you hang on 1 second, Dawn, for that so I can finish this one, and then I'll go jump right to you?
All right, thank you.
Yep, hang on, I'll be right back over. So if we're at preferred, and let's say, Carl, I know for sure that you could qualify probably for super as well. So let's say I'm going to go over preferred. Preferred and super are going to be the same commission amount, but they are going to be very different. If they qualify for super, then go ahead and give them super because you'll know by the time you get done underwriting them and you wrote down all their medicines. So if I'm saying, hey, Carl, it looks like you're only on one medicine for blood pressure, one for cholesterol, and one for your thyroid, that's it? Okay, great. Well, then in my head, I know that you know what I mean? And that's all you've been on in the past 10 years? Okay, great. Then I'll offer them super preferred. You see what I'm saying? I just don't go through qualifying them in the past 10 years because 85 to 90% of your policies are not going to be super preferred. So I'd rather start at preferred, work my way up or down from there. That's kind of my middle point if they're a non-smoker. But if they're a smoker, I start at standard. But I want you guys to understand 10.5.2 because I want you to know, well, yeah, I was on Plavix. Now the next question is, well, how long ago were you on that? Are you still on it now? You need to know those things to kind of get a good idea. Where it'll kick them out if they only have one or two medicines is, let's say you were qualifying them super, but they're taking 3 high blood pressure medicines. That's automatically going to knock them down to preferred. Well, now you're down to preferred, and they're taking 3 high blood pressures, metformin and insulin for their diabetes. They're taking a thyroid medicine, 2 anxiety medicines, a depression medicine. Yes, they're a non-smoker, but they have a whole Easter Bunny basket full of medicines and 4 or 5 different ones for each illness. You would have to assume that the first medicine didn't help, the second medicine didn't help, the third medicine didn't help. See what I'm saying? So, you would probably want to put them at standard just for the risk class,
All right. Okay. Yep. You answered my question. Yeah,
all right, perfect.
Thank you very much.
Yep, let's go over to Dawn. Dawn, what was your question?
A simple question. If I write something, I've got somebody I think maybe preferred, but they're kind of borderline. If underwriting looks at it, would they upgrade the offer? Or in case that they think it's not preferred, they would downgrade it?
I have had them come back and do both.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. Let's say I write somebody and they're a non-smoker, okay? and I go through and I punch it in, and they come back and I wrote it modified. Home office is going to come back like, Don, what is wrong with you? Right? I mean, this guy's a non-smoker. Why'd you write him, modified? I would literally call into the underwriting department and just say, hey, Joe, this is Shane here in the field. I just want to let you know why I wrote the modified. I know they're a non-smoker. I know they didn't have a lot of medications, but I promise you there is something wrong there. I don't know exactly what it is, but the guy only had one left leg, said he's never had a problem. I know he's lying to me. I don't know what wrong it is wrong. He wouldn't give me the truth, so I just wrote it modified. You see what I'm saying? Because you're going to be here to look out for the customer, but you're also going to be here to protect the company's risk, right? That's our job as underwriters. So if you're sitting in front of somebody and they're telling you straight up that they got no medical issues and they're like still bleeding from their left arm, it's like there's a problem here. Or let's say they are borderline. Here's the reason why I'm teaching you guys this underwriting, because you could go out today, and I know this underwriting is going to seem a little confusing in the beginning. Don't worry about it, because Slice is going to do 90% of this for you, okay? The reason why I want to teach it to you is because some of this might get missed in Slice. So, for instance, let's say it's borderline, and I say, Dawn, and in the past 5 years, have you taken any medications? Yeah, I'm on this, this, and this. Okay, great. You're a preferred, super preferred, whatever. I write it up, and they forgot about a medicine that they took 8.5 years ago when they were in ER. Oh, yeah, they did inject me with morphine 3 times that week. I completely forgot about that. You see what I'm saying? What's going to happen is you're going to go write it super preferred. 10 years back, 9 years ago, they had that one medication they forgot about, and now underwriting's going to kick it back and say, hey, Don, you're going to have to call them and rewrite this on a different plan. They don't qualify for super preferred. It looks like there's a medication. So what I would do is call into underwriting and say, hey, what was that medication that came up 9 years ago? Well, it showed that they were on Plavix. All right, so I call the customer back. Hey, Dawn, this is Shane. Looks like here something came up in your medical. Looks like here 9 years ago or so, it looks like here you were taking Plavix. When's the last time you were taking the Plavix for your heart? You didn't say you had any heart medicines. Oh, yeah, that was 8 years ago. They gave me Plavix. I was good to go after that. My doctor checked me out and took me off it. Okay, so you haven't been on it for 5 years. No, I've been on it for have been off it for 8 years. Okay, I can still write them preferred, but I can't write them super. So you see why knowing this will help you?
Yes,
You just need to kind of know what that is. So good question though. Thanks.
I'm assuming a lot of this is in the manual, correct?
All this is in the manual, yes. And like I said, Slice is going to help you go through a lot of this. I'm just going through with you more in depth, so that way you kind of get to ask the question, so it makes more sense once you get to it. Because Slice, remember, a computer program can only do so much, right? It can only ask so many questions the right way, but I still like to go back old school and actually ask the questions. I want to know how to underwrite somebody, so I'm not relying on a computer to do it all for me. And the more you start to write people, the more you're going to start to know. Like 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, when you're in the field, as soon as somebody says they've had a heart problem, it's going to be second nature. Just going to be like, oh, how long ago did you have a heart attack? 5 years ago. Oh, really? 5 years ago. When's the last time you were on medicine for it? Well, I'm still on medicine. Oh, what are you taking? Then you're automatically going to kind of limit it in your head, but it'll just come so quick to you that as soon as you write down their medicines, you're going to be like, oh, that's standard. You see what I mean? It's just going to come second nature. But the reason why I'm teaching this is because in Slice, if you don't ask these certain questions, Slice isn't always going to narrow it down on the medication wise for how many years back they took it. Yes, it will narrow it down where it says, are you on Plavix? Yes. Okay, it knocks out standard and preferred. But it doesn't say, well, how long have you been on Plavix? It doesn't ask that. So if you just put down, no, they haven't been on medications, it's going to give you every policy from ultimate preferred down to guaranteed issue. And then you're the one sitting there trying to figure out, I don't know, which one should I write it? You know what I mean? You're like, I don't know. So, but yeah, so the more you write them, the more you see these people's medications in the field and start to see what gets approved and what doesn't. If you can just remember 10-5-2, 10 years back on medical and prescriptions for super and ultimate, 5 for preferred and 2 for standard. Just get used to being an investigator. How long ago was the illness? How long ago have you either had a treatment? Because listen, some people might have just had a treatment. You know, Dawn, how long ago was your heart attack? 6 years ago. Did they put you on any medication? Nope, they just put a stent in. Okay, the stent's a treatment, right? So they're not on any medication, and the heart attack was 5 years ago, so you can still write them standard. See what I mean? So
I got you.
you'll just get used to going through it, but the more you write it, the more it'll make sense. And in the beginning, if you guys have any questions, the reason why we have a group me, if you guys aren't on the group me yet, make sure your upline gets you into group me. If you're in with a client and you need help, ask somebody to call you in the home until you get used to it, you know, or just type it in on group me. Say, hey, I got a guy 64, non-tobacco. He's on 5 blood pressure medicines and a blood thinner. What would I write this? You know what I mean? And just ask for help until you get used to it.
Okay, that won't take long.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it won't. Well, you're going to sit with a lot of people, and what you're going to find out is they all have the same peddler at the pharmacy. So they're all going to be on about the same thing. You'll be like, oh, you on, what are you on, lisinopril for that? Yep. Oh, you taking simvastatin too? Yep. You know, they're all on the same med regimen. So, but good question, though. Thanks for that one. Anything else on the whole life plans? Nope. All right, moving on. All right, next one. I'm not going to go over substandard and substandards only for states that don't have limited benefit policies like modified and grade or guaranteed issue. So unless you're in Massachusetts or Minnesota, I'm not going to go over that. We don't have anybody here from Mass or Minnesota, right? Nope. All right. 20 pay standard, as long as they're standard, they qualify for a standard plan, you can put them on a 20 pay. 20 pay is going to be a little bit more money. It only goes up to 60 years old, but they're going to pay a little bit more money per month, but they're only going to pay for 20 years. At the end of the 20 years, they're done. They don't pay no more, and they'll still have a policy in force. So that's huge. Now that we understand 10-5-2, right? 10 years, super. 5-year, preferred. 2 years standard. So let's say we go back, Carl, and I say, Carl, how's your health been in the past 2 years? You on any medications? Well, yeah, I take Plavix. Okay, so you're currently taking Plavix. So anything that they're currently taking in the past 2 years or had a problem in the past 2 years, if it has occurred in the past 2 years or they're currently taking medicine in the past 2 years, they do not qualify standard, it goes down to modified. So modified still goes 0 to 85, but it's only a maximum of 15,000 in coverage that they can get. And a modified, for you guys that don't know what it is just a return of premium of 110% of their policy premiums within the first 2 years. So if they paid in and died the first year, they paid in $1,000, their family's going to get $1,100 back tax free. So after the second year, after the full second year going into the third year, then they're going to be fully covered. So what's the benefit of getting this done and taken care of? I tell them like this: if I know they're going to be modified and they're on a modified medication, such as a heart, issue or whatever it may be, in my presentation, which I'll get into when we get into presentations, I'll say something like, now, Carl, let's just say, you've been looking for life insurance now for a while. And as you probably know, with having a heart condition and having diabetes and everything else that you have, you probably know that most companies you've called either going to, rate you very heavily, or they're not even going to be able to offer you coverage. Okay, but I have good news. We do have a policy. We specialize in members that have a heart condition, and we call it modified. And what this does is going to give you locked-in premium. So at your age, because you're never going to get younger and healthier than you are today. So we want to lock in your price for the month. And what it's going to do is lock in your monthly premium. And if anything ever happens in the first 2 years, they're going to return back to your family 110% of your premiums. And, 10%, Carl, there's no bank or anything out there that's going to give you a 10% return on your money, over the next 2 years. So this is like a great forced savings plan. We're locking in your premium. And after you get past that 2 years, you want to get this time clock started today, because no matter where you go with the conditions you have, you're going to be on some type of limited death benefit policy like this policy, or even worse, not even be able to cover you. And if you keep waiting, you get one more illness, you may not even be able to qualify for this policy. Okay, so that's how you want to explain modified and the benefits of it. They want to get the time clock started today to get past that 2 years where they're locked in with full coverage. Okay, if they've had multiple problems, now we're going to get to multiple. So let's say they're modified at this point. they're on Plavix for their heart, plus a bunch of other medications, and they're a smoker. We know they're modified. But now let's say they have COPD, heart attack. They've had their left foot amputated due to diabetes, whatever it may be. If they had multiple major problems in the past 2 years, they're going to go down to our guaranteed issue. Now, we have easy issue and guaranteed. Easy issue, we don't even use that anymore. We had that before guaranteed issue came out. Easy issue, the only difference is they actually still ask 2 or 3 questions on the app, and we just don't need it anymore because we got guaranteed issue. If they don't qualify modified, we can write up anybody guaranteed issue. So guaranteed issue, there's no health questions at all. We can write it 0 to 85. We're probably only one of 3 companies that I know of that offer guaranteed issue, and we're probably only one company, if maybe 2, that offer a commission in advance on a guaranteed issue product. And I know we're probably the only company that goes under 40 for guaranteed issue. Most companies go 40 to 85. The other 2 companies that I know of, those other 2 companies pay as earned on their policies, not advance. So ours go from 0 to 85. That means anybody in any health condition from AIDS to bedridden can get a policy. The only difference between guaranteed issue and modified is the guaranteed issue is a 3-year return of premium of 110% instead of 2. So they just get 110% each year. Once they get to past the 3rd year, then it's locked in at that price, and they get full first day coverage. Now, the cool thing about our limited death benefit plans, modified or guaranteed, they do come with accidental death benefit. So it's a mere copy. If they have 10,000 in guaranteed and 10,000 in accidental, and let's say, God forbid, something happens to them in an accident and they die of an accident, the accidental policy will pay out day 1. The accident policy will pay out day 1, even if they're on a 3-year waiting period. Okay. Any questions so far on the modified or guaranteed?
Yeah, the accidental. All right. If you have $10,000 guaranteed issue, say,
Yep.
and you've accident. Okay, so if an accident occurs in a month, are you getting 10,000 or 20,000?
If they die of the accident and they're on guaranteed issue, they're only getting 10,000 because it's only going to pay out the accidental side. Now, if it's past 3 years, then they're going to get 20. Right.
Gotcha.
If they're on a day 1 plan, if they're on preferred and they have accidental, right? I had accidental on every policy. So accidental just comes with it because for $1.27 or whatever it is, as cheap as it is, I'm not risking a client saving them $1 in premium. And I'll tell you why. I had a true story, and this will just help you understand why I'm passionate about it. When I was with another company, I was at a manager's meeting in Tampa and just got done on the beach. I was at a Hulk Hogan beach bar talking to a lady that was one of our manager's wives, just got over cancer. Okay, just beat cancer, got in remission, was happy about it, was living her life, and he had just put a 2-year policy on her. And when we went to leave that beach bar that night, she ended up getting ran over by a vehicle and killed. And I mean, thank God that he had that policy on her because it did pay out the accidental, where it wouldn't have paid out because she was already on that modified plan because of having, the illnesses that she had. That just shows you that we never know how we're going to go. So if she wouldn't have had that policy, he wouldn't have had any life insurance on her. You know what I'm saying? So that's one big thing that you can tell people is, listen, if anything ever happens, you want to make sure that, you have this coverage in place. Get it done now because you're risking yourself by waiting any longer because you're not going to get it for anything. There's no company out there with a major heart attack in the past 2 years that is going to give you day 1 coverage, and just say, listen, honestly, if I could recommend you to somebody that would, I would. Right. But there's no one out there that does it. So we need to get you this policy, get it put in place while you're youngest and healthiest so we can lock in your pricing, and this accidental will pay out day 1. So if anything ever does happen to an accident, then you're good to go. And I always joke with the wife. I said, now listen, if he passes and, due to natural cause, just kick him on down the steps there and throw the laundry basket on him. Tell him he was carrying it down the steps, just joking with him. But in all seriousness, if something does happen to accident, at least it's going to pay out day 1. So, any other questions on guaranteed and modified? Guaranteed being 3-year return of premium, 110% return, and 2-year on the modified. Any other questions? Nope. All right. Next, term plans. So we do offer term plans. 20-year term and a 20-year return of premium. Now, these plans, they are going to take longer to issue. Okay, so if you do write a policy on a term and you write it today, I know normally our policies, when we write a policy today and get a check good to go for today, it'll pay you today's commission and it'll be in your bank account tomorrow. Okay, for all of our whole life plans, yes, for the most part, that's how it's going to work. On a term policy, if you write a term policy, just expect to get paid however long it's going to take until they receive, because they are going to do an MIB because of the amount. If it's 20, 30, 40, 50,000, they're going to do an MIB. They're going to do a prescription drug check and make sure that everything's good. So if that all is going to depend on how quick the family doctor or whoever is going to send the medical records if they request them. Okay. If everything pulls up on the MIB and there's no major issues, they'll just issue the policy. But if there's something that they got to look into a little deeper, then they're going to request medical records from that doctor. So if you write term, I'm going to say it again. If you write term, don't get upset if it's not being issued in a week or 2 weeks. It might take 3 weeks to issue that term. So if you're going to write, and this is just my recommendation off the record, right? If you're going to write a whole life and a term, if you're going to write them, let's say standard, write them up 10,000 in standard first, okay? Write them up standard, send that policy through, and then write them up the 20-year term afterwards, because if they qualify for standard, they'll qualify for term. So as long as they qualify standard or above, if they qualify for day one coverage, they'll always get approved for the term, okay? So if you submit the 10,000 first, and then you go back after that gets issued in a day or two and go ahead and submit the 20,000 in term, even if it does take 3 weeks to get covered, at least you know your client's covered. If you submit them both at the same time, they're not going to approve the whole life until they get through approving the term. Does everybody understand that? Okay, I'm assuming that that's a yes. So if you're going to do it, submit the whole life first, and if they qualify right there for the whole life, then when you submit the term, more than likely that term is going to go through a lot quicker because the company has already approved them for a standard policy. Okay, just a little tidbit. So 20-year term, 20 to 65 years old. Non-tobacco, I will tell you, are great rates. Tobacco, it's going to be probably double. I'm just being honest. Tobacco rates are a lot higher for term, but it is up to 50,000, 10 to 50,000 on the 20-year term, in different increments going up. So remember, you can only do 50,000 total in the company. So if you do 20,000 in whole life, you can only do 30,000 in term. And the term policies, if you only write a term, any term policy at all you write, you cannot add accidental onto the term. Okay? So no accidental on term. So if you write whole life, you can write 10,000 in whole life with 10,000 in accidental and another 20,000 in term. And if they die of an accident, they'll get paid out for 40,000. If they die naturally, 30. Okay. Return of premium, again, 20 years. It's only from 20 to 45 years old, 45 being the max. And it only comes in increments of 10,000, 10, 20, 30, and 40,000 and 50,000. If they pay it annually, like I said, they're going to get 100% return of premium. If they pay it monthly, they're going to get 98% of the premiums returned. Now, they have to pay the policy for the full 20 years. Make sure you explain that to your client. If they only pay for it 10 and they cancel their policy in 10, they're not going to get a return of premium. If you read the last sentence, it says the return of premium benefit is only available if the policy is in force at the end of the 20-year term. So if they cancel it at any time between that 20 years, they will not get the return of premium for the half the time. Okay. Height weight chart, very lenient. I mean, very lenient. For you guys that can zoom, I'll zoom in here. If you guys can see, I don't know if I can zoom. Nope, I can't zoom. So we'll just go over it. Height weight chart. I'll just give you an example. Even to be super or ultimate preferred, Okay, I'm 5'7", 5'8". I could be 5'7", 232 pounds and still qualify for super preferred and preferred. Even to do standard or below standard, modified, whatever else it may be, 5'7", I could be 264 pounds. So just to give you guys an example, I mean, I'm 5'7", probably about 188, 185 pounds, and I could still tend to lose a few pounds. So I would probably be about 170. So if I could be 5'7" and almost 265, that's a pretty lenient day one chart. If they go over 265, then it's going to be modified or guaranteed issue. Okay, so if you got somebody that's 5'5" and the max is 252 and they're 305, you got to write it modified. Okay, if they're 5'5" and 500 pounds, you might want to write it guaranteed issue, just to be honest. Okay, now I will tell you, use your common sense here. Okay, if somebody's 5'7" and the max for preferred, they're a non-smoker, only on one high blood pressure medicine, and they're 233 pounds, okay, don't write it standard. You know, just write it at 232 or 231 pounds. Anybody can give or take 1 or 3 pounds, 5 pounds. I mean, I could be 192 a week from now, and a week from then be 185. So what I'm saying is use your common sense. You're the underwriter. Remember, our goal is to protect the company and do the best for the client we can. If somebody is a pound or two over, but they're healthy overall, write them preferred. You know, if somebody's on 15 medications and 3 of them high blood pressure, 3 diabetes, and they're 5 or 10 pounds over, write them standard. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? All right. All right, so right now, guys, it is about 1:30. We've been on here since 11:30. Let's take a 20-minute break. Let's take a 25-minute break. Let's take a 25-minute break, jump back on here at 1:45, give you guys time. I'm going to go get a drink of water, take a coffee, make sure I can get my voice back for the rest of this. The rest of the presentation, we're going to be going over a presentation just to kind of flip through some of these slides here to show you what's coming up. This is where we're going to get into the main meat of the presentation. So we're going to get into the presentation. What do we do? How do we work through the presentation? What are some of the different bullet points that we use to lay out the presentation? I got a worksheet here that we use to go through and how to navigate through the presentation to make your presentation proactive, not reactive, so that way we get to the easiest close possible. We're going to go over the Senior Life brochure and how to explain it, the Final Wish Planner, Legacy. We're going to explain the whole Legacy program to you and how all the benefits work on the Legacy. We're going to explain the Slice app, the operation of the Slice app. We're going to go through how to input your application, where all your documents are located. And I'm going to explain to you how the underwriting that you just learned is going to incorporate through the Slice app, as you guys can see here as I flip through these slides. Okay, we're also going to get down to medications and how there's multiple uses on medications. So for instance, if somebody's taking a high blood pressure medicine, that same medicine might be used for a heart attack. Or like this one, I put in Adderall. Adderall is used for narcolepsy and ADD. Well, they need to know depending on underwriting. So the Slice app is going to break this down. I want you guys to understand how to work it. Here's where it's going to pull up and show you all the products to select and how I'm going to make sure you click the right ones. So it's going to show you how to quote the people and how to select the right quote. We're going to go through and how to punch into referrals, where to find incomplete applications, how to make sure your business is sent, closing, rebuttal, solidification. We're going to go over all that. And then to finalize the day, we're going to go over commissions, compensation. And then once we go over the commissions and compensation, we're going to take a break and come back and go over the phone script. And at that point, you guys should be ready to go. We'll go over some of the health benefits, different qualifications for convention, Rolex program, and go over. And that's pretty much the end of the day. You guys will have your full training in. So let's take a 25-minute break. Let's get back on here at 1:45 Eastern. And like I said, I wouldn't miss this part for you guys. I know it's been a long day, but I figured we could try to cram this in and get it done for you so we can get out making some money. Let's get back here at 1:45, and we'll get the rest of the main meat of it done, presentation and also phone script. So I'll see you guys back here in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and just end this for now, and we'll be back on.